Imagine getting up every morning feeling energized, clear, and sure that the day ahead is not just another one, but a chance to grow, move forward, and take charge of your life. But be honest. How many times have you woken up with no drive or purpose, stuck in a habit that doesn't get you anywhere? How you start your day sets the tone for the rest of it. You'll be able to focus, get more done, and better manage your time if you start with discipline, purpose, and the right habits. If you wake up without a plan or goal, though, you've already lost the first battle before it even begins. The habits we're going to talk about today will change the way you start your day and make your mornings better. These tools have been shown to help you stop responding and start taking charge. Get ready, because this movie will change the way you start your day. 1. Wake up at dawn with resolve and purpose. There is a profound power in greeting the day before sunrise, standing firm against the soft pull of the pillow and the deceptive comfort of extra minutes of sleep. Waking up at dawn is not merely a scheduling choice. It is a declaration of intent, a statement to yourself and to the world that you will not be governed by inertia or by the whims of comfort. When you rise with resolve and purpose, you seize the first, most vulnerable moment of your day and transform it into an act of self-mastery. First, consider the psychology of that moment your alarm sounds. At that precise second, your mind offers you a simple bargain: stay nestled in warmth for a few more minutes, or stand and claim your day. This choice may seem inconsequential, but it is the seed from which your entire day grows. Every successive decision, whether you choose to exercise instead of scrolling through your phone, to write instead of snoozing, becomes intrinsically linked to that first victory. Marcus Aurelius himself, though emperor of Rome with infinite duties, resisted his natural slumber to cultivate discipline. He understood that the discipline to act when it is hardest is the same force that carries him through the challenges of statecraft. To transform dawn into a fortress of purpose, cultivate 3 foundational practices. First, anchor your reason for rising. The night before, ask yourself, what is the single most important action I intend to take in the first minutes of my morning? Whether it is writing in a journal, doing a brief meditation, or performing a set of stretches, commit to that one ritual. Record it visibly on a sticky note by your bedside or in your phone's reminder, so that your mind awakens not to indecision, but to clear purpose. Second, design a tangible trigger that bypasses temptation. Place your alarm across the room so that turning it off forces you out of bed. Lay out workout clothes, notebook, or running shoes at eye level before you sleep. These physical cues prime your body to move, interrupting the default script of 5 more minutes. Third, cultivate gratitude as you rise. Before you swing your legs over the edge of the bed, pause to acknowledge 3 simple realities: the gift of another sunrise, the breath filling your lungs, and the opportunity to choose action over passivity. This brief moment of gratitude shifts your mindset from "I have to" "I get to," infusing your resolve with positivity rather than duty alone. Physiologically, dawn rising aligns with our circadian rhythms. The body's cortisol levels peak in the early morning, naturally heightening alertness. By harnessing this natural surge, you optimize your mental clarity and energy reserves before distractions emerge. Furthermore, studies in habit formation confirm that performing an action at the same cue, here, the dawn alarm, reinforces neural pathways, making that discipline increasingly automatic over time. Ultimately, waking at dawn with resolve and purpose is more than a routine. It is a practice in sovereignty. You reclaim the opening moments of your life each day, refusing to surrender them to lethargy or digital dopamine. You become the architect of your time rather than its servant. And in doing so, you build a reservoir of small victories that bolster your confidence, sharpen your focus, and set an unshakable tone for the hours to come. 2. The domino effect of a strong start. Imagine placing a single domino on a tabletop and watching it topple into dozens more, each falling in a precise, unstoppable cascade. Your morning habits are the first domino in the sequence of your entire day. A strong, intentional start sets off a chain reaction. Discipline begets focus, focus begets productivity, and productivity begets empowered momentum. Recognizing and harnessing this domino effect is the secret to constructing days, and ultimately lives, that align with your highest aspirations. Begin by understanding that every action you perform in the first hour after waking exerts disproportionate influence. If your first move is to roll over and check social media, you have effectively handed control of your mind to an external algorithm, priming your thoughts for distraction and comparison. In contrast, if your opening act is a deliberate habit, such as making your bed, you claim ownership. Admiral William H. McRaven famously emphasized that every morning you make your bed is the first win of the day, instilling a sense of order and signaling to yourself that you follow through on commitments. To leverage the domino effect, identify one keystone habit, a foundational behavior that catalyzes other positive changes. Keystone habits for many include morning exercise, journaling, or reading a page of an inspiring book. Choose a habit that resonates with your goals. For instance, if creative output is your aim, journaling for 10 minutes upon rising can ignite your imagination, clarify your priorities, and neutralize mental clutter, enabling smoother progression into your work. Once you've chosen your keystone habit, employ these 3 strategies to ensure it triggers subsequent successes. Habit stacking. Anchor your keystone habit to an existing routine. If you brew coffee first thing, use that ritual as a cue. While your coffee brews, perform your journaling or meditation. The familiar act of starting your coffee becomes the signal for your new habit, strengthening the neural link between cue and behavior. Immediate reinforcement. Reinforce the habit with a small reward. After completing your chosen practice, allow yourself a few moments of affirmative feedback. A moment to appreciate the clarity rising within you, a sip of that freshly brewed coffee, or a quiet smile at your reflection in the window. This emotional reward cements the behavior loop, making you more likely to repeat it tomorrow. Conscious sequencing. Plan 2 or 3 micro-actions that naturally follow your keystone habit. If your first domino is a 30-second plank exercise, the next could be 5 minutes of stretching, then a brief review of your top 3 priorities for the day. By predefining the sequence, you bypass decision fatigue and maintain constructive momentum. Research in behavioral science confirms that clustered wins build confidence and self-efficacy. Success raised in micro-increments compounds rapidly. A habit maintained for 1 week often becomes self-sustaining, while a week of neglect can unravel progress. The domino effect also combats the psychological trap of feeling overwhelmed. By focusing on the next small domino rather than the entire tower, you sidestep paralysis and keep the chain reaction alive. Consider Margaret Thatcher's routine. She rose at dawn, tackled her correspondence, and reviewed key decisions before the cabinet convened. Each morning she converted these early wins into political strength, cementing her reputation as the Iron Lady. Similarly, Marcus Aurelius reflected each morning on his guiding principles, preparing his mind for the unpredictable challenges of imperial rule. Their strategic starts forge days of decisive action and calm resilience. In your own life, harness the domino effect by choosing one intentional start and building a chain of micro-habits. Allow the first success to propel you into the next and the next. Over time, the cumulative force of these aligned habits will carry you further than isolated bursts of motivation ever could. When you master the sequence of your morning dominoes, you transform each day into an unstoppable force of purpose, productivity, and personal power. 3. Keep your body active to improve your well-being. Physical movement is more than a ritual for athletes or fitness enthusiasts. It is the cornerstone of mental resilience, emotional stability, and sustained energy. When you engage your body in regular activity, you are activating physiological mechanisms that sharpen your focus, regulate mood, and reinforce the very discipline that carries you through every domain of life. Marcus Aurelius, despite his status as Rome's emperor, recognized that a neglected body undermines a vigorous mind. For him, daily walks, even barefoot, were as essential as philosophical reflection. To maintain consistent activity, consider 3 guiding principles. First, view movement as non-negotiable. Just as you would not question whether to eat or sleep, do not debate whether to move. Schedule it. Treat your morning walk, midday stretch, or evening bodyweight routine as immovable appointments. When exercise becomes an integral, untouchable part of your calendar, you internalize the message that caring for your body is inseparable from caring for your mind. Second, embrace small, cumulative habits. Transformation rarely springs from one marathon or a single weightlifting session. Instead, it emerges from dozens of brief, daily micro-workouts. 5 minutes of dynamic stretching upon waking, 10 minutes of brisk walking after lunch, or a short bodyweight circuit before dinner. Behavioral science shows that micro-habits minimize resistance. By requiring minimal time and no special equipment, they remove common barriers, lack of motivation, limited time, or fear of the gym. Over weeks and months, these tiny deposits of effort yield substantial returns: increased stamina, reduced stress, and a fortified sense of agency. Third, connect your movement to a higher purpose. The Stoics believed that every action should align with virtue. When you push through discomfort in a set of squats or a timed plank, remind yourself that you are cultivating courage, temperance, and self-mastery. This reframes exercise from a self-indulgence or chore into a practice of character building. You become the architect of your own fortitude. Physiologically, movement stimulates the release of endorphins and brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, chemicals that enhance mood, sharpen memory, and protect neural pathways. Cardiovascular activity increases blood flow to the prefrontal cortex, improving decision-making and emotional regulation. Strength training elevates testosterone and growth hormone, supporting confidence and vitality. By integrating movement throughout your day, you maintain steadier blood sugar, balanced hormones, and clearer thinking, antidotes to midday slumps and the reactive stress that arises when crises strike. Practical implementation might look like this. Upon waking, spend 3 minutes practicing deep breathing and dynamic limb swings. During your workday every hour, stand and perform 30 seconds of calf raises or desk push-ups. In the evening, before dinner, take a 10-minute walk outdoors. These anchoring moments of activity disrupt prolonged sedentary stretches, resetting your circulation and mental clarity. Moreover, consistent movement builds momentum in other areas of life. When you've honored your commitment to physical discipline, you strengthen your belief in follow-through. That 10-minute walk today becomes the precedent that compels you to meditate, journal, or tackle a challenging task tomorrow. The compound effect of aligning body and mind propels you toward elevated productivity, deeper resilience, and a sense that you can meet any challenge, internal or external, with composure and strength. 4. Value what you have. True abundance is never found in acquisition alone, but in the appreciative gaze we train on the life already unfolding around us. Every morning, before the noise of obligations and distractions floods your mind, pause to recognize the simple miracle of your existence, the breath that sustains you, the beating of your heart, the clarity of your senses. Marcus Aurelius wrote that he began each day by reminding himself of the good in his life, from family and friends to the opportunity to act virtuously. Cultivating gratitude is not a fleeting emotion, but a deliberate discipline that anchors you in contentment and fortifies you against despair. Begin by noticing 3 things you often overlook. Perhaps it is the roof over your head, the ease of moving freely, or the nourishment in your kitchen. Write these down in a gratitude journal, 3 new items every day. The act of writing crystallizes your appreciation, signaling to your brain that these ordinary elements are, in fact, extraordinary gifts. Over time, this practice rewires neural pathways, making your mind more attuned to blessings rather than deficits. Next, shift your language. Replace "I have to" with "I get to." When you say, "I get to prepare breakfast," or "I get to walk to work," you transform obligations into privileges. This subtle reframing shifts your emotional baseline from resistance to enthusiasm. Studies in cognitive psychology show that linguistic restructuring, choosing empowering words, can significantly improve motivation and decrease stress. Another potent method is the pre-mortem gratitude exercise, a Stoic-inspired twist on negative visualization. Imagine you have lived a long, fulfilling life and are looking back. What small things would you wish you had appreciated more? Your ailing health, a loved one's laughter, the warmth of sunlight on your skin. By contemplating the fragility of these blessings, you estrange complacency and awaken a profound resolve to treasure them daily. Gratitude also amplifies resilience. When setbacks arise, missed deadlines, interpersonal conflicts, or unexpected hardships, the inner bank of appreciation cushions your psyche. You remind yourself, even in this challenge, I have supportive friends, skills I've honed, and opportunities to learn. This balanced perspective prevents adversity from derailing your equilibrium. Practically, integrate gratitude triggers throughout your day. Set periodic alarms to pause for 10 seconds of appreciative reflection. Place visual cues, a family photo, a plant on your desk, a piece of art, within your sightline to spark quick acknowledgement of life's richness. Share your gratitude. Send a brief note to someone who contributed positively to your day. The act of expressing thanks deepens social bonds and returns positive affirmation, reinforcing the cycle of appreciation. Ultimately, valuing what you have is not about settling for less, but about recognizing that you already possess more than you often realize. Gratitude does not contradict ambition. Rather, it enriches it. When you pursue goals from a foundation of abundance, you operate from a place of confidence and joy rather than from fear or lack. Over time, this perspective magnetizes further blessings, opportunities, relationships, experiences, because you carry a mindset attuned to recognizing and creating value. By making gratitude your daily discipline, you transform every dawn into a reminder of life's generosity and every dusk into a testament to growth and fulfillment. In this way, the habit of valuing what you have becomes both the engine and the compass of a well-lived life. 5. Anticipate the day's challenges. Negative visualization. Anticipating the day's challenges through negative visualization is a powerful mental rehearsal technique borrowed from Stoic philosophy. Rather than starting your morning in blind optimism, believing everything will proceed smoothly, negative visualization trains you to imagine potential setbacks and plan your response in advance. This practice does not promote pessimism. It cultivates preparedness, resilience, and calm in the face of adversity. When you anticipate challenges before they occur, you decrease the emotional shock when they appear and increase your ability to respond with composure and effectiveness. Begin each morning, ideally while still in bed or during your first moments of quiet reflection, by closing your eyes and mentally running through the upcoming day. Consciously ask yourself, what could go wrong today? Consider realistic scenarios that are likely given your schedule and circumstances. For example, if you have a critical presentation, imagine your laptop battery dying or the projector malfunctioning. If you commute by car, visualize heavy traffic or a flat tire. If you work virtually, picture connectivity issues or unexpected interruptions. For each scenario, pause and ask yourself, how would I respond calmly and resourcefully? This mental rehearsal has two immediate benefits. First, it inoculates you emotionally. Just as exposure to a low dose of a pathogen can build immunity, mentally facing potential difficulties reduces the anxiety and surprise when they occur. Your mind has already seen the problem and practiced a solution, so real-life stress triggers are less likely to provoke panic. Second, negative visualization highlights prevention strategies. When you imagine the projector failing, you're reminded to arrive 15 minutes early to test the equipment or to have a spare adapter on hand. When you foresee traffic jams, you might choose an alternate route or inform your team you may run slightly late. To apply this method consistently, follow these steps each morning. Set aside quiet time. Before reaching for your phone or springing out of bed, dedicate 3 to 5 minutes to reflection. Sit up, close your eyes, and take several deep breaths to center your attention. List likely obstacles. Jot down or mentally note 2 to 3 realistic challenges you might encounter. Keep the list focused and actionable. Visualize calm responses. For each obstacle, vividly imagine how you would remain calm, what specific steps you would take, and how you would communicate if necessary. The more detail you include, what you see, hear, and feel, the stronger the neural pathways you build. Extract preventive actions. Identify simple preventive measures you can implement immediately. Carry spare equipment, allocate buffer time in your schedule, prepare alternate talking points, or set reminders. These small actions transform your day from reactive to proactive. Reaffirm your composure. Conclude by reminding yourself that while you cannot control external events, you can control your attitude and choices. Repeat a brief affirmation such as, "Prepared minds navigate obstacles with clarity." Scientific studies support the efficacy of this approach. Research in performance psychology demonstrates that mental rehearsal reduces stress and improves outcomes in high-pressure environments. Athletes, military personnel, and public speakers alike use visualization to prepare for worst-case scenarios. Neuroscience shows that vividly imagining an action engages many of the same neural circuits as physically performing it, making your brain more adept at executing calm, composed responses under duress. Over time, Negative visualization becomes a habit of strategic foresight. You begin to welcome challenges as opportunities to exercise resourcefulness and mental toughness, rather than as threats to your peace of mind. As you practice, you'll notice an increase in confidence, knowing that whatever arises, you've already rehearsed and have a plan. This mental preparation sets the stage for the rest of your day, ensuring that you are not at the mercy of circumstances, but are the captain of your responses. 6. Overcome the challenges of waking up early. The battle against the snooze button is one of the most universal human struggles, yet waking early is a non-negotiable habit for high-performing individuals. It grants extra hours of quiet, focus, and intentional action before the world fully awakens. To transform early rising from an arduous ordeal into a sustainable routine, you must understand both the physiological hurdles and the behavioral strategies that will carry you through initial resistance and gradually cement morning discipline. First, recognize why your body resists change. Sleep inertia, the groggy, disoriented state you feel upon waking, serves an evolutionary purpose: to protect you from abruptly emerging into potentially dangerous situations. Additionally, your circadian rhythm may be tuned to a later schedule, making early wake-ups feel unnatural. Finally, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for self-control and planning, is less active during the sleep-wake transition, making it easier for your limbic system, seeking comfort and reward, to dominate and press snooze. To overcome these physiological and psychological barriers, apply a phased, strategy-driven approach, gradual adjustment. Rather than forcing yourself awake 2 hours earlier overnight, shift your wake-up time by 10 to 15 minutes earlier every few days. This incremental change lets your internal clock adapt without triggering acute sleep deprivation. Track your progress on a calendar and celebrate each small victory, reinforcing the habit loop. Strategic sleep hygiene. Waking early is futile without quality rest. Establish a wind-down routine 60 to 90 minutes before bedtime. Dim the lights, avoid screens, and engage in calming activities such as reading or light stretching. Maintain a consistent bedtime to stabilize your circadian rhythm, ensuring sufficient deep and REM sleep. Compelling morning motivation. Identify a why that genuinely excites you to rise. A compelling reason, morning writing, a sunrise run, or uninterrupted time for a passion project, provides an emotional anchor stronger than the lure of extra sleep. Write your motivation on a card beside your alarm clock or set it as your phone wallpaper. Immediate activation. Upon your alarm, engage a physical trigger that forces movement. Place your alarm across the room, so you must stand to turn it off. Follow this immediately with an activation routine: 5 squat jumps, a 1-minute dance or vigorous stretching to boost adrenaline, jumpstart circulation, and silence grogginess. Leverage light and cold. Natural light is a potent signal to your brain that sleep time has ended. Open curtains instantly or use a full-spectrum light box. A quick cold shower or even splashing cold water on your face accelerates alertness by stimulating the sympathetic nervous system. Accountability structures. Partner with an accountability buddy who also aims to wake early. Send each other a good morning text when you're up. Alternatively, join an online community or challenge to reinforce your commitment. Public accountability heightens your motivation and leverages social reinforcement. By consistently employing these strategies, your body and mind realign to a healthier rhythm. Research in sleep medicine confirms that gradual adjustments minimize sleep debt, while exposure to morning light and immediate physical activity enhance the cortisol awakening response, crucial for wakefulness. Behaviorally, embedding compelling motivations and accountability transforms groggy mornings into energized beginnings. Ultimately, overcoming the challenges of waking early empowers you with valuable, uninterrupted time. You reclaim hours that most of the world spends in slumber, using them to plan, create, and move your most important projects forward. This head start fuels a positive spiral. Early rising begets productivity, which begets confidence, which reinforces your resolve to continue rising early. In this way, the initial discomfort becomes the gateway to a disciplined, high-impact life. 7. Early hydration to activate your body. Before you reach for coffee or check your email, your body's most urgent request is for water. After 7 to 9 hours of sleep, you emerge in a mildly dehydrated state. You have not ingested fluids for an extended period, and vital systems, brain function, digestion, circulation, are running on reserves. Early morning hydration is a deceptively simple yet dramatically effective catalyst for physical and cognitive performance, emotional balance, and metabolic activation. Begin each day by drinking a full glass, approximately 300 to 500 milliliters, of room temperature water within the first 5 minutes of waking. Doing so accomplishes several physiological and psychological objectives: replenishment of lost fluids. During sleep, you lose water through respiration and perspiration. Hydrating immediately restores plasma volume, supporting efficient nutrient delivery and waste removal at the cellular level. Jump start to metabolism. Studies demonstrate that water consumption can increase resting metabolic rate by up to 30% for 30 to 40 minutes. Early hydration thus serves as a natural metabolic boost, supporting weight management and energy regulation throughout the day. Enhanced cognitive function. Even mild dehydration, just a 1 to 2% drop in body water, impairs attention, memory, and mood. By rehydrating before mental tasks begin, you optimize neuroelectrical conductivity and neurotransmitter balance, leading to sharper thinking, faster reaction times, and greater emotional stability. Digestive readiness. Water primes your digestive system for the day's intake. It stimulates peristalsis in the gastrointestinal tract, reducing bloating and helping prevent constipation. When you hydrate before breakfast, your body is prepared to efficiently process nutrients rather than struggling to absorb them. For maximum effectiveness, follow these practical guidelines. Keep water by your bedside. Fill a glass or bottle before sleeping, so no barriers exist between you and immediate hydration. Avoid sugary or caffeinated alternatives. While coffee and juice contain water, their diuretic or sugar-laden effects can undermine initial rehydration. Stick to pure water first. Add mineral support. A pinch of high-quality sea salt or a squeeze of lemon can enhance electrolyte balance and improve taste, encouraging consistency. Pair with deep breathing. As you drink, inhale deeply to oxygenate your blood. The combined ritual of hydration and breathwork activates the parasympathetic and sympathetic systems in balanced harmony. Psychologically, honoring your body's basic needs first thing is an act of self-respect. You signal to yourself that you prioritize well-being over reactive consumption of stimuli, emails, notifications, or caffeine. This small victory, completing a simple, healthy act, builds self-efficacy and sets a tone of mindful care for subsequent choices, from food selection to movement habits. In sum, by making early hydration a non-negotiable part of your morning routine, you unlock a cascade of benefits: accelerated metabolism, optimized brain function, digestive readiness, and a sense of bodily empowerment. Water is the foundation of life. By providing it immediately upon waking, you lay the groundwork for a day of peak performance, mental clarity, and sustained energy. 8. Rise above the average while others sleep. While most people hit the snooze button and slide back into unconsciousness, you have the choice to embrace the stillness and use it as an advantage. Rising before the majority of the world is not an exercise in isolation, but an intentional creation of headspace and uninterrupted time. Prime conditions for deep work, personal growth, and strategic planning. This extra window, free from distractions, is a secret weapon for high achievers and a powerful differentiator in an increasingly noise-filled world. Consider the typical early morning hours, from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m., as a sanctuary of solitude. There are no emails to answer, no phone calls to return, no meetings scheduled. Instead, you have time to engage in 4 high-leverage activities. Deep work on high-value projects. Cal Newport's concept of deep work highlights the exponential productivity you achieve when focusing on cognitively demanding tasks without interruption. Use this window to write, code, strategize, or create. Whatever activity yields the greatest long-term return. Without the competing demands of colleagues and the ping of notifications, your flow state can flourish. Physical priming. Use the quiet hours to engage in an invigorating workout, yoga sequence, or brisk walk. Physical activity in solitude deepens your mind-body connection and primes your brain with endorphins, preparing you for sustained alertness and positivity throughout the day. Strategic planning and reflection. Review your goals, journal your thoughts, and visualize your desired outcomes. This practice aligns your subconscious with your highest priorities and ensures that when the world awakens, you move forward with clarity rather than being pulled into reactive tasks. Skill, acquisition, and learning. Dedicate time to reading, language practice, or skill development. Learning in the morning, when mental acuity is at its peak, yields higher retention and deeper comprehension. To make this habit stick, follow these steps. Define your non-negotiables. Decide in advance the specific activities you will undertake during early hours. Whether it's a 45-minute writing block or a 30-minute workout, clarity prevents decision fatigue. Protect the time rigorously. Treat your early morning as a sacred appointment. Inform family or housemates of your regimen to minimize interruptions. If needed, use white noise or noise-cancelling headphones to maintain focus. Celebrate small wins. Acknowledge the pride and momentum you feel each time you maximize this window. Over time, the emotional reward of progress will reinforce your commitment. Monitor and adjust. Periodically assess how you use this time. Are you making progress on your highest priorities? If not, refine your schedule and activities to better align with your goals. Empirical evidence illustrates that morning people, those who self-identify as early risers, report higher levels of proactive behavior, planning, and life satisfaction. The psychological concept of anticipatory coping also demonstrates that engaging in effective, goal-directed actions before stresses emerge significantly reduces anxiety and boosts performance. By rising early, you preemptively shape your day rather than merely reacting to it. In essence, rising above the average while others still sleep is both a habit and an advantage. It grants you exclusive, undisturbed time for your most important work, enhances your physical and mental vitality, and empowers you to lead each day rather than be led by it. Over months and years, this consistent edge compounds, distinguishing you from the crowd and propelling you toward extraordinary achievement. 9. Practice virtue from the moment you awaken. The split second you open your eyes each morning offers a powerful choice: to succumb to comfort or to stand in deliberate moral intention. Practicing virtue from the very moment you awaken means deciding that your first breaths and movements will reflect the qualities you most admire: integrity, courage, temperance, and wisdom, rather than lazy indulgence or reactive inertia. When the alarm sounds, you might feel the temptation to linger under the covers. Yet, the moment you push yourself upright, stretch your limbs, and speak to yourself with kindness instead of self-criticism, you transform a simple act into an affirmation of who you choose to be. This morning ritual need not be long. A silent declaration of purpose: I will act with honesty, I will meet challenges with courage, or I will extend compassion to others, sets an internal compass that resonates throughout the day. As you perform small tasks, making your bed, washing your face, buttoning your shirt, remind yourself that these mundane actions are expressions of self-respect and discipline. Through this daily practice, you forge a mental habit loop. Virtue begets virtue. The more you begin your days consciously aligned with your values, the more naturally subsequent decisions will flow from that foundation. When ethical dilemmas or moments of frustration arise, you draw on the reservoir of moral discipline you've cultivated each dawn. In essence, practicing virtue first thing is an investment in an unshakable character, quietly ensuring that even your smallest choices echo your highest ideals. 10. Wake up at the same time every day. Consistency in wake-up time is a subtle yet transformative discipline. By rising at the same hour each morning, weekdays and weekends alike, you synchronize your physiology, sharpen your mental focus, and cultivate a profound sense of reliability in yourself. Your body's circadian rhythm, that internal timekeeper regulating sleep, hormone cycles, and energy levels, thrives on regularity. When you resist the urge to sleep in on Saturdays or shift your schedule arbitrarily, your internal clock learns to anticipate rest and alertness with precision. You begin to wake naturally, free from grogginess and dependency on caffeine jolts. Beyond the physical benefits, a consistent rising time fosters self-trust. Each morning you honor your commitment to a fixed wake-up. You reinforce your belief in your own follow-through. That trust carries into your professional and personal life. You become someone whose word, starting with the promise to yourself, is dependable. Over time, erratic mornings give way to seamless starts, and your days gain structure and calm. When you step into your morning rituals at precisely the same hour, you demonstrate to yourself that discipline is not an occasional feat, but the bedrock of sustainable success. 11. Feed your mind with something motivating every morning. Immediately upon waking, your mind resembles freshly tilled soil, highly receptive to the first seeds you plant. If that first input is a barrage of negative headlines, social media drama, or trivial notifications, you're sowing weeds of anxiety and distraction. Instead, deliberately nourish your mental landscape with uplifting, inspiring, or educational content that stokes curiosity and confidence. Perhaps you read a passage from a treasured philosophical work, listen to a brief motivational podcast, or recall a personal story of triumph that reminds you of your own resilience. By selecting content that aligns with your aspirations, whether a few lines of poetry, a transformative quote, or a 10-minute audio clip, you prime your neural circuits for positivity and purpose. Neuroscience confirms that early morning stimuli significantly influence neurotransmitter balance, enhancing dopamine and serotonin levels to boost mood and creativity. This initial act of self-care builds a protective buffer against stress, making you less likely to drift into reactive or unproductive behaviors. Over weeks and months of this intentional practice, a virtuous cycle emerges. Motivated mornings beget energized days, and energized days reinforce your commitment to purposeful beginnings. 12. Reflect on Memento Mori. Memento Mori, remember you must die, is a Stoic tool for clarifying priorities and igniting urgency. Rather than a morbid fixation, this practice is a compassionate reminder that life is finite and that each moment holds irreplaceable value. Each morning, take a brief moment to contemplate the impermanence of existence, the inevitability of change in your relationships, health, and circumstances. Ask yourself what matters most if today were your last full day. Would you delay important conversations, meaningful projects, or acts of kindness? By facing mortality with calm acceptance, you dissolve trivial anxieties and heighten your appreciation for the gift of time. Research in existential psychology shows that those who integrate mortality awareness into daily routines prioritize enduring values, love, growth, authentic contribution, and report greater life satisfaction. This clarity transforms your to-do list. Tasks imbued with purpose receive your fullest effort, while distractions lose their allure. Reflecting on Memento Mori each morning aligns your intentions with the reality that every sunrise is both precious and provisional. 13. Expose yourself to early morning sunlight. Morning sunlight is nature's most potent cue for resetting your internal clock. Within 30 minutes of waking, stepping outside or opening your curtains to let direct rays touch your eyes and skin triggers a cascade of physiological responses. Cortisol levels rise appropriately, signaling alertness, while melatonin suppression readies you for deeper rest at night. The invigorating warmth and soft glow of dawn enhance mood regulation, stabilize energy throughout the day, and sharpen mental clarity. Even on overcast days, 5 to 15 minutes of outdoor exposure is sufficient to synchronize your circadian rhythm. Resist the temptation to reach for screens first. Instead, breathe deeply, feel the air on your skin, and absorb the colors and sounds of the morning. This ritual not only optimizes sleep-wake cycles, but also anchors you in the natural world, reminding you that your well-being is entwined with the rhythms of light and life. 14. End your day with introspection and a conscious routine. How you conclude your day sets the stage for tomorrow's quality of rest and readiness. Rather than collapsing into mindless screen time, allocate the final 30 to 45 minutes before sleep to reflective practice and calming rituals. Recall the day's events with balanced objectivity, celebrate your accomplishments, acknowledge missteps without judgment, and extract lessons for growth. This compassionate review cultivates continuous self-improvement and dispels lingering stress. Pair introspection with a soothing routine. Dim ambient lights, engage in gentle stretching, journal your thoughts, or read a few pages of a philosophical text. By signaling to your nervous system that rest is imminent, you optimize melatonin secretion and quiet the mental chatter that hinders deep sleep. This deliberate closure transforms each night into an act of self-care and learning, ensuring you awaken both physically restored and mentally prepared. 15. Connect with nature to empower your mind. In our technology-saturated lives, we often drift away from the elemental rhythms that sustain us. Daily immersion in natural environments, parks, gardens, riversides, or even a sunlit balcony acts as a mental reset, reducing stress and enhancing creativity. Spending 30 to 60 minutes amid greenery and fresh air recalibrates your autonomic nervous system, shifting from fight-or-flight tension to parasympathetic calm. When you pause to feel the texture of grass beneath your feet, inhale the scent of earth, and observe patterns in leaves or ripples in water, you dissolve mental fixation and invite insight. Neuroscientific studies confirm that nature exposure lowers cortisol levels, restores attention, and accelerates recovery from fatigue. By weaving this practice into your routine, morning walks, lunchtime park breaks, or evening woodland strolls, you amplify cognitive resilience and emotional equilibrium. In doing so, you remember that your mind thrives not in isolation, but in harmony with the living world around you. All right, let's get real. Ever notice how some people just love to test your boundaries? They interrupt, make passive-aggressive comments, or act like your time and feelings are optional, and we're supposed to just smile and let it slide? Not today. If you're done putting up with people who don't respect you, this video is for you. Today, I'm breaking down brutally honest, maybe even a little controversial, ways to handle disrespect without losing your cool and without sacrificing your self-respect. So buckle up, because by the end of this, you'll have every tool you need to show people exactly where the line is drawn. Let's dive in. 1. Embrace the silent stare. Let's start with one of my all-time favorite slightly savage techniques, the silent stare. Now, you might be thinking, really? Just staring? Yes, trust me on this. When someone's being openly rude or disrespectful, nothing throws them off more than a long, calm, completely unbothered stare. People who disrespect others are usually looking for a reaction. They want you to stammer, get flustered, maybe even snap back. They're looking to drag you into their drama, to make you question yourself or feel small. But when you just look at them, no words, no expressions, just steady eye contact, suddenly the power dynamic flips. Now I get it. This might sound a little passive-aggressive, but hear me out. There's something deeply unsettling about someone who doesn't give the reaction they were expecting. When you hold a steady, silent stare, you're saying without a word, "I'm not playing this game with you." It's a way of reclaiming control without even lifting a finger, and sometimes that silent stare is the clearest, most powerful no you'll ever say. Let me tell you about a time this technique worked like magic. I was in a group meeting where one guy kept talking over me, cutting me off like he was on a mission. You know the type, loud, overconfident, thinking everyone's there to listen to his wisdom. I tried interjecting. I tried being polite, but he wouldn't stop. So finally, I just looked at him. I leaned back in my chair, crossed my arms, and held his gaze. No blinking, no expression, just stared. For 5 solid seconds, I said nothing. You could feel the tension build, and the best part? Everyone else at the table started looking at him too, wondering what he'd do. You know what happened? He got uncomfortable, stumbled over his words, and suddenly looked anywhere but at me. He didn't interrupt me for the rest of the meeting. That silent stare did more than any words could have. And it didn't just stop his behavior in the moment. He actually started treating me with more respect after that, as if he'd finally realized I wasn't someone he could just bulldoze. Sometimes you have to show people who you are without saying a word. Let's dig a little deeper, because this is more than just a power move. When you embrace the silent stare, it's like a reminder, to them and to yourself, that you don't have to dance to someone else's tune. You don't owe anyone an emotional reaction, and you don't have to prove yourself to people who don't see your worth. This is about reclaiming your space, your peace, and your dignity. Too often, when someone is disrespectful, we feel an urge to defend ourselves, to make our case, or worse, to let it slide because we don't want to create a scene. But the silent stare, it's not about being aggressive. It's about showing that you're grounded, unbothered, and unapologetically in control of your own emotions. It's also about accountability. People who are used to disrespecting others often do it without even thinking. They've never been called out, never faced real consequences for treating others poorly. When you give them that silent, deadpan look, it's like you're holding up a mirror. Suddenly, they're left alone with their own behavior. You're not telling them they're wrong, you're showing them. And most people don't like to see themselves like that. That's why this works. I've noticed that the silent stare tactic does more than just get the other person to back off. It also strengthens your sense of self-worth. When you stand there silent and still, you're reminding yourself that their words or actions can't shake you. I used to be the type who'd nervously laugh off rude comments or try to explain myself when someone questioned my choices. But honestly, that just drained my energy and made me feel worse. Learning to just look at someone, to let that silence fill the room without backing down, was a game changer. It feels like a small act of defiance, a quiet but powerful declaration of self-respect. So if someone's being rude, pushing boundaries, or making you feel less than, try the silent stare. Just look at them. Let them feel the weight of your calm. You'll be surprised at how uncomfortable it makes them and how empowered it makes you feel. The silent stare says, "I respect myself too much to get dragged into your negativity," and that's a message worth sending. 2. Embrace silence as your answer. Here's a little secret weapon that's incredibly underrated. Silence. When someone disrespects you, one of the most powerful responses is no response at all. Now I know what you're thinking. Silence feels passive, almost like you're letting them get away with it, right? But here's the truth. Silence is far from passive. It's a choice. And sometimes it's the boldest, loudest answer you can give. When someone's throwing negativity at you, they're trying to pull you into their drama, to make you feel small or defensive. But when you don't engage, when you just let their words hang in the air without responding, it forces them to sit alone with their own behavior. And that silence, it's deafening. Now here's why this works so well. People who disrespect others usually expect a reaction. They're looking for a fight, a justification, or just some kind of validation for their own behavior. But silence says, "I'm not giving you my energy." By not engaging, you're keeping control of the conversation and letting them know, "I'm not here to entertain your disrespect." Sometimes the most powerful way to communicate is by not communicating. It's a quiet, subtle reminder that they're not worth your time or your words. I remember once being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist making these little digs. You know the kind of person. Hides their insults as jokes and tries to pass it off as harmless fun. So one day, he says something completely unnecessary about my work, clearly just to get a rise out of me. Normally, I would have tried to explain myself, or maybe even fired back a comment. But this time, I just looked at him, raised an eyebrow, and said absolutely nothing. I let his words hang in the air, letting him feel that awkward, silent pause. And you know what? He didn't know what to do. He looked at me, then looked down, mumbled something, and moved on. That moment was the last time he tried pulling that with me. It was like he realized that if I wasn't reacting, there was no power to be gained. That's the beauty of silence. It starves disrespect of the attention it craves. Here's the deeper message. When you choose silence, you're choosing yourself. You're saying, I value my peace over your opinion of me. And that's not just empowering, it's revolutionary. So often, we feel pressured to respond, to explain ourselves, to defend our choices, or to prove our worth to people who frankly aren't interested in respecting us. But by embracing silence, you're refusing to play by their rules. You're taking a stand without lifting a finger. You're letting them know, you're not worth my words. It's not just about controlling the situation, it's about reclaiming your energy. Silence is like a filter. It keeps your peace intact by blocking out the negativity that others try to project onto you. The moment you stop feeling the need to respond to every rude comment or passive-aggressive jab, you free yourself. You stop giving people access to your inner world, and you start living on your own terms. I'll be real with you. Learning to use silence wasn't easy for me. I used to think that if I didn't defend myself, I'd look weak or passive. But I started noticing something interesting. Every time I responded to people who disrespected me, I'd end up drained and frustrated. But when I held my tongue and let their comments pass by like white noise, I realized I felt lighter, stronger, and more in control. It was like I took back a piece of my power every time I chose silence over reaction. Here's my challenge to you. The next time someone disrespects you, just pause, take a deep breath, look them in the eye, and say nothing. Let your silence speak for itself. You might be surprised by how uncomfortable they get and how freeing it feels for you. Embrace silence as your answer, because sometimes saying nothing is the most powerful statement of all. All right, this one's going to hit home for a lot of us. Stop explaining your choices. Seriously. How many times have you made a decision for yourself only for someone to immediately start asking, why? Why did you do that? Why didn't you go to that event? Why'd you take that job? People seem to think they're entitled to an explanation for everything we do. And here's the honest truth. They're not. Your choices are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you live your life. It might sound controversial, but let's face it. If someone's questioning your choices, they're often not looking to understand. They're looking to judge. They're looking to poke holes, make you doubt yourself, or feel better about their own decisions by making you second-guess yours. You don't have to play along. When you stop explaining yourself, you reclaim your autonomy and show them that your life isn't up for debate. Let's dig a bit deeper into why people feel so entitled to an explanation in the first place. When people question your choices, it's often because your decision challenges their view of the world. Maybe you're taking a risk they're too scared to take, or maybe you're stepping out of the norm they find so comforting. Your independence or willingness to do things differently can make them uncomfortable, and asking you to explain is their way of trying to fit you back into their comfort zone. But here's the kicker. Just because they're uncomfortable doesn't mean you're responsible for reassuring them. Your life isn't a public service announcement. You don't have to justify your choices to anyone. I remember when I decided to switch careers, moving from a safe job to something I was actually passionate about. But that came with a lot more risk. The moment people found out, it was like I'd announced I was moving to Mars. I kept getting asked, why would you leave a stable job? And how are you going to make it work? At first I'd try to explain, talk about how I wanted something more fulfilling, about how I had a plan, but I quickly realized that no matter what I said, it never felt like enough. The more I explained, the more people questioned me, poking holes and making me feel like I needed to prove myself. Then one day, I decided to try something new. When someone asked, "But why would you leave that job?" I simply replied, "Because I wanted to." No extra details, no breakdown of my strategy, just a simple answer. And let me tell you, it felt amazing. The silence that followed was everything. People didn't know how to respond because I'd taken away their power to question my choices. And you know what? They eventually stopped asking. Here's the real beauty of not explaining yourself. It's freeing. It's you standing in your own truth, knowing that your decisions are enough simply because you've made them. When you stop justifying your actions, you give yourself permission to live authentically, without the weight of other people's expectations. You stop wasting your energy on explanations, and you start pouring it into actually living the life you want. There's a powerful lesson here. Your life doesn't need an audience vote. Not every decision has to be analyzed or approved by others. When you stop explaining yourself, you're letting people know, "I'm confident enough in my choices that I don't need your approval." Think about it. When was the last time you saw a truly confident person breaking down their decisions for others? Probably never. Because people who own their lives don't need external validation. They know that the only approval that matters is their own. Look, I've been there. I used to be the person who'd give a full PowerPoint presentation on why I was doing something just to get people on board. But over time, I realized that explaining myself to everyone was only making me second-guess my choices. So I made a pact with myself. If someone asks me about a decision, I'll answer briefly, maybe give a sentence or two. If they push for more, I smile and move on. And you know what? Life got a lot lighter. The more I stopped explaining, the more confident I became in my own decisions. So here's my challenge to you. The next time someone questions your choices, resist the urge to explain. Just say, "Because I wanted to," or "That's what felt right for me." Then let the silence speak. Watch how powerful that simple statement is. You'll feel stronger, more in control, and more at peace with yourself. And the best part, you'll realize that your choices don't need anyone else's stamp of approval. They're valid simply because you made them. Keep your distance. Let's be real. Sometimes the best way to handle people who don't respect you is to just keep your distance. I know it sounds harsh, maybe even a little cold, but here's the hard truth. Not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life, and if someone's consistently disrespecting you, one of the healthiest moves you can make is to give yourself some space from them. This doesn't mean you hate them or that you're being dramatic. It means you respect yourself enough to protect your energy. Keeping your distance isn't about being mean or ignoring people. It's about choosing where and how you spend your time and energy. Imagine your life as a limited access club. Not everyone gets a VIP pass. If someone's constantly crossing your boundaries, making you feel small, or just radiating negativity, why on earth would you keep them close? It's okay to step back. In fact, it's crucial. Distance can give you the clarity to see things as they really are, free from the fog of emotional manipulation or guilt. Think about it. When you keep people who disrespect you close, it's like inviting them to a mental and emotional buffet where they take, criticize, and judge as much as they want. And then we wonder why we feel drained, anxious, or frustrated. Giving yourself space from these people is an act of self-preservation. It's about protecting your mental health, preserving your peace, and making room for people who actually respect and uplift you. Letting go of the guilt around distancing yourself can be liberating. You're not obligated to keep disrespectful people in your orbit. I'll share a little story. I once had a friend who would always find a way to make snide comments about every choice I made, my career, my relationships, even my taste in music. At first I thought, well, that's just how they are. Maybe I'm overreacting. So I kept them around, kept trying to brush it off, thinking it wasn't that big of a deal. But over time, those little jabs started getting under my skin. I realized I was walking on eggshells, always bracing myself for the next criticism or the next joke that felt more like a punch. One day, I decided to try a different approach. I didn't make a big announcement or call them out. I just started limiting my time with them. Instead of seeing them every week, I'd see them maybe once a month. And guess what? I felt lighter. I felt freer. And in that space, I realized just how toxic that friendship had become. Distancing myself gave me the mental clarity to see that I deserved better friends. Friends who would build me up instead of tearing me down. Here's the thing. Some people are going to tell you that keeping your distance is selfish. They'll say, but they're family, or you've been friends for years. It can feel uncomfortable, maybe even a little taboo, to admit that someone you know well just isn't good for you. Society tells us to be loyal, forgiving, and nice, but at what cost? Here's a little secret. Protecting your peace isn't selfish, it's necessary. You're not here to be anyone's emotional punching bag or their constant source of validation. Sometimes the best way to show someone you've had enough is by simply stepping back. Here's where it gets deep. Keeping your distance is a powerful reminder that you are your own priority. You don't have to play the role someone else has assigned to you. You don't owe anyone access to your mind, your time, or your emotions. When you put a little space between yourself and disrespectful people, you're making a statement. Your well-being comes first, and that's not just self-care, it's self-respect. Distance also gives you the chance to focus on the relationships that matter, the ones that genuinely uplift you. Think about it. The more time you spend around people who respect you, the more confident and fulfilled you feel. The less time you spend around those who tear you down, the less room they have to impact your thoughts, your mood, and your life. I used to feel so guilty about distancing myself from people, even if they weren't treating me well. I'd think, what if they think I don't care? Or maybe I'm overreacting. But over time, I learned that distancing myself wasn't just about removing negativity, it was about creating space for growth. When I started giving myself permission to distance from disrespectful people, I felt a new kind of freedom. I had more energy, more peace, and a clearer vision of who I wanted in my life. So, here's my challenge to you. Think about the people in your life who constantly disrespect you, who make you feel small or drained. Then ask yourself, do they really deserve this much access to me? Hold your head high. All right, let's talk about an old-school classic that never goes out of style. Holding your head high. Now, I know this might sound like generic advice, but trust me, this one is pure gold when dealing with people who don't respect you. Here's the thing. When someone is disrespectful, they're banking on making you feel small. They want you to doubt yourself, to lower your eyes, to shrink into yourself. But when you stand tall and hold your head high, you're saying, without a word, I know exactly who I am, and nothing you say or do will make me feel less. Here's what's powerful about this. Confidence makes people uncomfortable. especially people who disrespect others. Why? Because they rely on the idea that their words or actions have the power to influence you, to control you in some way. When you refuse to let their disrespect touch you, when you literally stand taller and hold your head up high, you're showing them that they don't have the power to bring you down. You're unbreakable, and people who thrive on disrespect don't know what to do with that. It throws them off balance. It makes them question their power, not yours. I remember being in a situation with someone who just couldn't resist throwing little insults my way every time we met. You know the type. Always a smirk, always a joke that feels more like an attack. I used to try and brush it off, but honestly, it got to me. I found myself starting to dread being around them, feeling like I had to defend myself every time. But then, one day, I decided I was done feeling small. I showed up, shoulders back, head high, and every time they made one of their little comments, I just looked them in the eye, smiled, and carried on like nothing had happened. And you know what happened? They actually started backing off. It's like they could sense that their comments weren't reaching me anymore, that I was too far above that nonsense. And suddenly, their power faded. There's something magnetic about holding your head high. It's like a silent force field that says, "I'm untouchable." Now, here's where it gets a little spicy. People who don't respect you often hate seeing you confident. It messes with their worldview. They want to believe they're above you, that they've got something on you. And when you walk around confidently, it disrupts that narrative. To them, it's almost offensive. Society doesn't always know what to do with people who are unapologetically sure of themselves, especially when they refuse to let others' negativity define them. And let's be real, that can make you a bit of a target. But here's the thing, holding your head high isn't about them, it's about you. It's about living as if you're fully aware of your worth, as if you've got nothing to prove. That can feel like a radical act of self-respect. When you hold your head high, you're making a statement about your self-worth. You're declaring that, no matter what, you see yourself as valuable, deserving of respect, and inherently enough. Here's the deeper message. Self-worth isn't something you earn from others. It's something you claim for yourself. No matter what others think or say, you walk through life as if you already have everything you need within you. And guess what? You do. Holding your head high is a constant reminder that you're the main character in your own story. No one else's opinion has the right to make you feel less. The beauty of it? The more you practice this, the less others' disrespect will even register. You'll be too busy living in your own lane, too secure in who you are, to be bothered by anyone else's attempts to knock you down. This didn't come naturally to me. I used to be the person who'd slouch, avoid eye contact, and shrink when people were critical or dismissive. It felt safer to disappear. But over time I noticed that every time I held my head high, every time I refused to let someone's negativity seep into my spirit, I felt stronger. It was like I was reminding myself over and over that I didn't need anyone's approval to feel worthy. I could simply stand tall in who I was. Holding your head high isn't just about physical posture, it's about mental posture too. Walk into every room like you belong there. Don't shrink yourself to fit someone else's idea of who you should be. If someone makes a snarky comment, let it roll off you. They're not seeing the real you, they're projecting their own insecurities. So why let it bother you? Here's my challenge to you. Next time you feel disrespected, whether it's a subtle dig or a full-on insult, don't react. Instead, take a deep breath, pull your shoulders back, and keep your head high. Look them straight in the eye, as if to say, "I see you, but I'm above this." You'll feel a rush of confidence, a sense of peace that comes from knowing their words hold no power over you. Holding your head high is more than just good posture. It's a powerful, silent statement of your self-respect. It says, I know who I am, I value who I am, and nothing you say can change that. Because at the end of the day, respect starts with you. The more you respect yourself, the less room there is for anyone else's disrespect to stick. Stand tall, own your worth, and remember, you're worth every bit of that confidence. Life's too short to spend it bending over backwards for people who can't see your value. You don't need anyone's permission to stand tall, protect your peace, and live life on your terms. People will try to bring you down, test your boundaries, and question your choices. That's just the world we live in. But here's the thing. You get to decide what energy you let in. You set the standard for how you're treated. The best part? The more you focus on your self-respect, the more you'll attract people who see your worth, who uplift you instead of dragging you down. It all starts with you owning your power and letting the rest fall into place. So, hold your head high, embrace the silence when it serves you, and never apologize for walking away from what doesn't serve you. Thanks so much for watching. If you got something out of this, give it a thumbs up and maybe even hit subscribe for more content on owning your life and building the confidence to thrive. Share this with someone who needs a reminder to stand tall. And hey, drop a comment below if you've got a story about handling disrespect or setting boundaries. I'd love to hear it. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and remember, respect starts with you. We're about to explore 7 habits that completely transformed my life in just 1 week. Yes, you read that correctly. 1 week. I know it sounds almost unbelievable, but trust me, these aren't the typical tips you hear all the time. These are real, honest habits that I personally incorporated into my daily routine. I experienced the struggles, the breakthroughs, and the growth, and the change I underwent was nothing short of amazing. I'm excited to share these with you because they've made such a profound difference in my life, and I believe they can do the same for you. Whether you're aiming to boost your productivity, improve your mental health, or make a positive change in your daily life, these habits can help you get there. So grab a cup of coffee, get comfortable, and let's dive in. Stick with me until the end, because these habits aren't just theoretical. They're practical steps that you can begin implementing today. I'll also share personal stories and insights from my own journey, giving you a candid look at how these habits worked for me. Let's get started. The first habit that truly changed my life was waking up early. Let's be real, I was never a morning person. My bed was my sanctuary, and I used to hit the snooze button far too many times. Mornings always felt rushed, and I often felt like I was starting my day off wrong. But I decided to try waking up early, and let me tell you, it was a game changer. I began setting my alarm for 5 a.m., and the first few days were tough. I dragged myself out of bed, feeling groggy and questioning whether this was worth it. But I pushed through, and by the 3rd day, something incredible happened. I began to appreciate the peacefulness of the early morning hours. There was something almost magical about being up before the rest of the world, when everything was still and calm. With those extra hours in the morning, I had time for things I'd never been able to fit into my day before. I started with some light exercise, nothing intense, just stretching or a short jog around the neighborhood. This helped wake me up and energized me for the rest of the day. I also took time to meditate and set my intentions for the day. These few moments of mindfulness had a huge impact on my overall mindset and productivity. An unexpected benefit of waking up early was that I no longer felt rushed. I had plenty of time to enjoy a healthy breakfast, savor my coffee, and plan out my day. This calm, unrushed start set a positive tone for the entire day. I felt more organized, less stressed, and had a greater sense of control over my time. One memory that stands out was the morning I watched the sunrise from my balcony. It was such a simple moment, but deeply beautiful. As the sky changed colors and the world slowly came to life, I felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude and peace. It was in that moment that I truly understood the power of waking up early. I encourage you to give it a try, even if it's just for a week. Start by waking up just 15 minutes earlier than usual and gradually increase that time. You might be surprised by how much of a positive impact it can have on your life. It's not just about gaining extra hours in the day, it's about using those hours to create a more mindful, intentional, and fulfilling start to your day. Speaking of daily habits, daily exercise was habit number 2 that truly transformed my life. Let me be upfront. I wasn't always the most active person. I used to find every excuse in the book to avoid working out. I'm too tired, I don't have time, or I'll start tomorrow. Sound familiar? But one day, I decided that enough was enough. I made a commitment to move my body every single day for a week, and the results were incredible. I started small, just 20 minutes a day, mixing up yoga, jogging, and strength training. I wanted to keep things interesting so I wouldn't get bored and quit halfway through. The first few days were tough. My muscles were sore, and I felt exhausted, but I reminded myself why I was doing this, to feel better both physically and mentally. By the 4th day, something amazing happened. I woke up feeling more energized. My mood had improved drastically. I was less irritable and much more positive. I realized that those 20 minutes of exercise weren't just about burning calories or building muscle. They were about giving myself time to focus on me, to release stress, and to boost my endorphins. One morning, I remember lacing up my sneakers for a jog. It was a crisp, clear day, and as I ran, I felt a sense of freedom and clarity that I hadn't experienced in a long time. It was just me, the open road, and my thoughts. That connection to myself and the world around me was truly empowering. I also started to see physical changes. My posture improved, I felt stronger, and I noticed a difference in my overall fitness. But the biggest change was in my mindset. Exercise became my time to disconnect from the world and reconnect with myself. It became a form of self-care rather than a chore. Another personal highlight was trying yoga for the first time. At first, I was hesitant, thinking I wasn't flexible enough or that it wouldn't be a real workout. But after a few sessions, I fell in love with it. Yoga taught me to be present, to breathe deeply, and to listen to my body. It was a transformative experience that went beyond just physical benefits. Incorporating daily exercise into my routine made me realize that taking care of my body directly impacted my mental health and overall happiness. It's not about being perfect or pushing yourself to extremes. It's about finding a form of movement that you enjoy and making it a regular part of your life. So if you're like I was, struggling to get started, my advice is to begin small. Find something you enjoy, whether it's dancing, hiking, or just going for a brisk walk. Commit to just a few minutes a day and gradually build up from there. Trust me, the benefits you'll experience will be well worth the effort. Exercise is a habit that can transform not just your body, but your entire outlook on life. Habit number 3 is journaling. Now, I used to think journaling was just for people who had loads of free time or were naturally introspective. I was skeptical. I mean, who has time to sit down and write about their day when there's so much going on? But after just 1 week of consistent journaling, my perspective completely shifted, and it became a cornerstone of my personal growth journey. I started simple. Every night before bed, I dedicated just 10 minutes to journaling. I bought a plain notebook and a pen that felt comfortable in my hand. No fancy apps, no pressure to make it look pretty, just me and my thoughts. The first night I sat down to write, I didn't know where to begin. But as I kept writing, I found that I was not only reflecting on my day, but also gaining insights into myself, my thoughts, and my emotions. It became an important practice that helped me process my day, focus on gratitude, and set intentions for the future. The first night, I stared at the blank page, unsure of what to write. But then, I began with something basic: how my day went, what made me happy, and what I struggled with. As the days passed, I began to dive deeper. I wrote about my goals, my fears, my dreams, and even my insecurities. It felt like having a conversation with myself, and that's when the magic happened. I started to notice patterns in my thoughts and behaviors. I realized that some of the things I worried about were completely out of my control, while others were areas where I could take actionable steps. One night, I wrote about a particularly stressful day at work. By putting my thoughts on paper, I was able to process my emotions better. I wrote about what specifically stressed me out, how it made me feel, and what I could do differently next time. This simple act of reflection helped me gain clarity and feel more in control of my emotions. Another powerful aspect of journaling was tracking my progress. I noted down small victories and milestones, no matter how minor they seemed. Looking back at these entries filled me with a sense of accomplishment and motivated me to keep pushing forward. For example, I wrote about a presentation I was nervous about and how I prepared for it. Seeing my preparation process and the positive outcome documented in my journal was incredibly encouraging. I also started a gratitude section in my journal. Every day, I wrote down 3 things I was grateful for. This practice shifted my focus from what was lacking in my life to appreciating what I already had. It was a simple yet profound shift that brought more positivity into my daily life. One particularly memorable entry was about a random act of kindness I experienced. A stranger helped me when I was struggling with my grocery bags. Writing about this act of kindness not only made me feel grateful, but also inspired me to pay it forward. Through journaling, I discovered a lot about myself, my desires, my fears, my strengths, and my weaknesses. It became a form of therapy, a way to untangle the complex web of thoughts and emotions that we all carry around. It provided a safe space where I could be completely honest with myself without fear of judgment. If you've never tried journaling, I highly encourage you to start. Don't worry about writing perfectly or having profound thoughts. Just write whatever comes to mind. It could be a stream of consciousness, a recap of your day, or reflections on a specific event. Give yourself the freedom to express whatever you're feeling. You might be surprised at how much clarity and peace it brings into your life. Remember, it's not about what you write, it's about the process of writing itself. Next up, mindful eating. This was a big one for me because, like many people, I used to eat on the go, barely paying attention to what or how much I was consuming. My meals were often rushed and distracted, eaten while scrolling through my phone or working on my laptop. I didn't realize how much this was affecting my overall well-being until I decided to give mindful eating a try for 1 week. Mindful eating is all about paying full attention to the experience of eating and drinking, both inside and outside the body. It's about savoring each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and even the sounds of your food. So, I made a commitment to eat all my meals mindfully. I started by setting the scene for my meals. I cleared my dining table, set a nice place for myself, and removed any distractions. No phone, no TV, no laptop. At first, it felt a bit strange to sit quietly with my meal, but it quickly became a calming ritual. I began each meal with a few deep breaths to center myself and bring my focus to the present moment. One of the first things I noticed was how much more I enjoyed my food. I took the time to really taste and appreciate each bite. Foods I had eaten hundreds of times before suddenly had new, delightful flavors and textures that I had never really noticed. For example, the crunch of fresh vegetables and the sweetness of ripe fruit became much more pronounced. It was like experiencing food in high definition. Another major change was how much more satisfied I felt after meals. By eating slowly and mindfully, I gave my body time to signal when it was full. This was a big shift for me, as I used to eat quickly and often ended up overeating. By paying attention to my hunger and fullness cues, I found that I naturally ate less and felt more satisfied. One memorable experience was with a simple bowl of oatmeal. Normally, I would wolf it down without a second thought, but this time I took it slow, savoring the creamy texture and the subtle sweetness of the honey I drizzled on top. It became a moment of gratitude and mindfulness that set a positive tone for the rest of my day. I also started to notice how different foods made me feel. Heavier processed foods left me feeling sluggish and bloated, while fresh whole foods made me feel energized and light. This awareness led me to make healthier choices naturally, without feeling deprived or restricted. Another aspect of mindful eating is being aware of the emotional connections we have with food. I started to recognize when I was eating out of boredom, stress, or emotional comfort, rather than true hunger. This awareness was powerful. Instead of mindlessly snacking, I could address the underlying emotion. Maybe I needed a break, some relaxation, or a chat with a friend, rather than a bag of chips. There was one particular evening when I had a craving for something sweet after dinner. Instead of automatically reaching for dessert, I paused and asked myself if I was truly hungry or just seeking a reward after a long day. I realized I wasn't actually hungry and opted for a warm cup of herbal tea instead. It was a small victory that highlighted how powerful mindful eating can be. Incorporating mindful eating into my life was a transformative experience. It helped me develop a healthier relationship with food, improved my digestion, and even enhanced my overall sense of well-being. It's a habit I've continued beyond that initial week, and I can't recommend it enough. If you're interested in trying mindful eating, start with just one meal a day. Sit down without distractions, take a few deep breaths, and savor each bite. Pay attention to the flavors, textures, and how the food makes you feel. You might be surprised at how this simple practice can change your entire eating experience. It's a wonderful way to reconnect with your body and truly appreciate the nourishment that food provides. Now, habit 5, limiting screen time. This one was particularly challenging for me, and I suspect it might be for many of you as well. We live in a digital world, and it's so easy to get sucked into endless hours of scrolling through social media, binge-watching shows, or checking emails. I realized that all the screen time was taking a toll on my mental health, productivity, and even my sleep. So, I decided to set some boundaries and see what happened. First, I set a daily limit of 1 hour for non-work-related screen time. This meant no mindless scrolling through Instagram, no endless YouTube marathons, and no late-night TV binges. It was tough at first. I had become so accustomed to filling every spare moment with screens, but I knew I needed to make a change. The first thing I noticed was how much more time I had in my day. I hadn't realized how much of my time was being eaten up by screens until I consciously limited it. With those extra hours, I found myself rediscovering old hobbies and interests that I had neglected. I picked up a book I had been meaning to read, started doodling and drawing again, and even tried my hand at cooking new recipes. One evening, instead of watching TV after dinner, I decided to take a walk in the park. The fresh air, the sounds of nature, and the simple act of moving my body felt incredibly rejuvenating. It was a stark contrast to the usual screen-induced lethargy. That walk became a cherished part of my daily routine, something I looked forward to and enjoyed immensely. Another significant change was in my sleep quality. I used to take my phone to bed, scrolling through social media or watching videos until I felt sleepy. But this habit often left me feeling wired and restless, leading to poor sleep. By limiting screen time, especially before bed, I found it much easier to wind down and fall asleep. I started a bedtime routine that didn't involve screens, reading a physical book, meditating, or simply reflecting on my day. This change led to deeper, more restful sleep and made a huge difference in my overall energy levels. I also noticed improvements in my mental health. Without the constant barrage of news updates, social media comparisons, and digital distractions, I felt less anxious and more present. I was more focused during conversations, more attentive to the people around me, and more engaged in my daily activities. It was like a fog had lifted, allowing me to see and experience life more clearly. One particularly memorable day was when I spent an entire afternoon at a local cafe with just a notebook and a pen. I wrote down my thoughts, planned some goals, and even sketched a bit. It was such a peaceful and productive time, free from digital interruptions. I felt more connected to myself and my surroundings in a way that screens had never allowed. Of course, there were moments of temptation and slips along the way, but each time I noticed myself reaching for my phone out of habit, I gently reminded myself of the benefits I was experiencing and redirected my focus to something more fulfilling. Limiting screen time isn't about completely eliminating technology from your life. It's about creating a healthier balance and being more intentional with your time. If you're feeling overwhelmed or disconnected, I encourage you to try setting some screen time boundaries. Start small, maybe with an hour less each day, and gradually increase it. Use that extra time to reconnect with yourself, your loved ones, and the world around you. You might be surprised at how much richer and more fulfilling life can be when you step away from the screens and engage more with the real world. All right, everyone, that wraps up our journey through the 7 habits that dramatically changed my life in just 1 week. It's been an incredible experience, not just implementing these habits, but also sharing them with you. Each of these habits has the power to bring about significant positive changes, and I truly believe that if they worked for me, they can work for anyone. If any of these habits have inspired you, I encourage you to try them out for yourself. Start small, maybe with just 1 habit, and see how it feels. Adjust according to what suits your lifestyle and needs. Remember, the goal isn't perfection, it's progress. It's about making small, manageable changes that, over time, lead to substantial transformations. I'd love to hear about your experiences, so please drop a comment below sharing which habit you're thinking of adopting or any questions you might have about getting started. Your feedback and stories are what make this community so amazing and supportive. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of our future content. We have lots more insights and tips coming your way that you won't want to miss. Sharing this video with friends or family who might benefit from these habits could also make a huge difference in their lives. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, small changes lead to big results. Let's keep growing, keep evolving, and turn our everyday routines into powerful moments of self-improvement. Did you know that the secret to transforming your life's biggest challenges into your greatest opportunities might have been discovered over 2,000 years ago? Imagine facing life's storms with a calm so powerful nothing could shake your inner peace. Sounds like a superpower, right? Well, it's not just a fantasy. This ancient superpower, it's an age-old philosophy that's as practical today as it was in the bustling markets and marble halls of ancient Rome and Greece. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control every aspect of our lives, we have absolute power over how we choose to react. And in today's world, where uncertainty seems to be the only certainty, these teachings could be the anchor we've all been searching for. What if I told you that Stoicism is more about action than thought? It's about living a life filled with purpose, resilience, and happiness, no matter what life throws your way. It's not about suppressing your emotions, but understanding and managing them to lead a more fulfilling life. So whether you're dealing with stress, facing adversity, or simply looking to find more joy in the everyday, stick around. Today we're diving deep into Stoicism, uncovering its timeless wisdom and discovering how it can transform not just the way we think, but the way we live. If you're eager to embark on this journey of transformation, don't forget to subscribe, share, and hit that like button. Stick with me till the end without skipping, because every moment of this video is a step towards uncovering the Stoic wisdom that can change your life. Focusing on what's in your control. Have you ever found yourself stuck in traffic, fuming over the delay, or scrolling through your phone only to get upset over a negative comment someone left on your post? It happens to the best of us. It's almost like our day-to-day life is filled with these little tests, challenging our mood and our peace of mind at every turn. But here's a game-changing perspective from the world of Stoicism that can turn all that frustration on its head. Stoicism, this incredible philosophy that dates back to ancient Greece and Rome, hands us this powerful tool, focusing on what's in our control. The great Stoic philosopher Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." Think about that for a second. Traffic, bad weather, negative comments, these are all outside our control. We can't change them, no matter how much we wish we could. What we can change, however, is how we react to them. This idea isn't just ancient wisdom, it's backed by modern psychology too. Carl Jung, a giant in the field of psychology, famously stated, "I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become." This aligns perfectly with the Stoic practice. It's about recognizing that the only real power we have is over our own reactions, thoughts, and actions. Let's break it down a bit. Say you're in that traffic jam, late for an important meeting. You can spend that time stewing in anger, honking your horn, and stressing out, which, let's be honest, won't make the cars ahead move any faster. Or you can take a deep breath, accept the situation, and maybe use the time to listen to a podcast, an audiobook, or simply enjoy some music. The traffic hasn't changed, but your response to it has. And with that shift, your stress levels drop, and your day looks a bit brighter. This Stoic principle of focusing on what you can control extends far beyond just dealing with traffic or weather. It applies to our personal goals, our reactions to others, and our approach to obstacles in life. As Marcus Aurelius, another Stoic heavyweight, reminds us, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. So next time you find yourself getting worked up over something outside your control, remember these wise words from our Stoic friends. Ask yourself, is this within my control? If it's not, let it go. Focus on your reaction, your mindset, and your actions. This simple shift can have a profound impact on your stress levels and overall happiness. It's not always easy, but it's worth practicing every day. Remember, it's about progress, not perfection. And as we learn to focus more on what's in our control, we'll find ourselves not just surviving life's challenges, but thriving in spite of them. Stoicism teaches us the art of embracing obstacles as opportunities. It sounds counterintuitive, right? Most of us are programmed to view obstacles as just that, barriers to our success and happiness. But Stoics like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus flip this narrative on its head. Embracing obstacles as opportunities. They tell us when life throws you a curveball, instead of asking, why me? Ask, what can I learn? This is a game changer. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and a Stoic philosopher, penned in his personal writings, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." What he means here is that every obstacle, no matter how daunting, not only tests our resilience, but also teaches us valuable lessons. It's about finding the silver lining in tough situations and using it to fuel our growth. This perspective isn't just ancient philosophy. It's backed by modern thinkers too. The famous psychologist Carl Jung said, "What you resist persists." By fighting against obstacles, we give them more power over us, but by accepting and learning from them, we can overcome them. This Stoic mindset is about transforming challenges into stepping stones towards becoming stronger and wiser. Let's make it practical. Say you're facing rejection from job applications. It's easy to fall into a spiral of self-pity and doubt, but what if you viewed each rejection as feedback? Maybe there's a skill you need to improve or a new strategy for your job search. That shift in perspective can turn a series of rejections into a path for professional development. Another example is personal conflicts. They're uncomfortable and stressful, but they also offer a chance to practice patience, empathy, and communication skills. Every disagreement is an opportunity to understand different viewpoints and to refine our conflict resolution abilities. The essence of embracing obstacles as opportunities lies in asking ourselves, what can this situation teach me? Instead of being passive victims of circumstance, we become active learners and problem solvers. This doesn't mean that facing obstacles becomes easy, but it does mean that we approach them with a mindset geared towards growth and learning. Epictetus once said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is the heart of Stoicism. It's about seeing beyond the immediate pain or frustration of an obstacle and finding the lessons and opportunities it presents. So when you're faced with a challenge, big or small, try to pause and reframe it. Ask yourself what you can learn from the situation and how it can make you stronger and wiser. Remember, obstacles aren't just hurdles to overcome, they're opportunities to grow. By adopting this Stoic mindset, we can navigate life's ups and downs with more grace, resilience, and wisdom. It's something we hear about all the time, right? Live in the now. But what does that really mean, and why is it so important? Living in the present moment is about fully embracing and experiencing where you are at this very second, not letting your mind wander off to the worries of tomorrow or the regrets of yesterday. It's about realizing that life, with all its beauty, challenges and surprises, happens in the now. This concept isn't new. It's been a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, echoed by great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. And it's been reiterated by modern psychologists and thinkers. Let's start with the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future." Living in the present moment. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. He understood that the power of living in the present lies in its ability to ground us, to clear our minds of distractions, and to allow us to appreciate the richness of life as it unfolds. But why is it so hard to stay present? Our minds are often cluttered with thoughts, worries about what's next, or replaying things that have already happened. This constant mental noise pulls us away from the beauty and potential of the here and now. As the famous psychologist Carl Jung put it, the least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it. Living in the present moment gives meaning to the small, everyday experiences, enriching our lives beyond measure. Aristotle talked about the importance of being mindful of the present to achieve eudaimonia, a state of being happy, healthy, and prosperous. He believed that by focusing on the here and now, we could live a virtuous life, making the most of our human experience. So how can we practice living in the present? It starts with mindfulness, the art of paying attention to the present moment without judgment. When you eat, savor each bite. When you walk, notice the feeling of the ground under your feet. Listen actively when someone is speaking to you instead of planning what you're going to say next. These simple acts of mindfulness bring us back to the present, making our lives richer and more meaningful. Seneca offered this wisdom. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. He understood that anxiety about what's to come or what has been only serves to diminish our happiness in the now. Living in the present isn't about ignoring the future or forgetting the past. It's about finding a balance where we learn from our past and plan for our future without letting those activities consume our present. It's in this balance that we find peace and contentment. Remember, every moment is an opportunity to reset and refocus on the now. It's in the present that we live, love, and make memories. So let's make a conscious effort to be more present in our lives. Let's cherish the now, for this moment right here is where life truly happens. I know the word self-discipline might bring to mind images of rigid schedules and a life devoid of fun, but let's reshape that picture together. Self-discipline is not about restricting your life. It's about empowering yourself to make choices that align with your deepest values and long-term aspirations. It's choosing what's right for you, not what's easy in the moment. At its core, building self-discipline is about mastery over ourselves. It's about saying yes to things that serve us and no to things that don't, even when it's tough. Think about it. Whether it's sticking to a workout routine, saving money instead of impulse buying, or turning off Netflix to focus on a project, these choices might not deliver instant gratification, but they pave the way for long-term satisfaction and success. Stoic philosophy has a lot to say about self-discipline. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This powerful statement highlights the essence of self-discipline. It's about controlling our impulses, building self-discipline, emotions and actions despite the external temptations and distractions that life throws our way. Seneca offers wisdom on the subject too. He advises us to be steadfast and control our desires rather than being controlled by them. He understood that true freedom comes from within, from our ability to govern ourselves and our appetites. But why is self-discipline so critical? Aristotle, the ancient Greek philosopher, sheds light on this. He believed that we achieve excellence and virtue through habit. By practicing self-discipline, we cultivate habits that lead us toward our best selves. It's not about occasional acts of willpower, but about consistently making choices that reflect our values and goals. Building self-discipline also ties into modern psychological understanding. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our personality to live fully. This integration requires self-discipline, as we must navigate the desires of different parts of our psyche, choosing paths that contribute to our overall well-being and growth. So how can we build self-discipline in our daily lives? Start small. Pick one area you want to improve, whether it's your diet, exercise routine, or spending habits. Set clear, achievable goals and take it one day at a time. Remember, every time you make a choice that aligns with your goals, you're building the muscle of self-discipline. Epictetus reminds us, "No great thing is created suddenly." Self-discipline is built through small, consistent actions. It's about progress, not perfection. Every day presents new opportunities to practice self-discipline, to choose actions that move us closer to who we want to be. Building self-discipline is a journey. It's about finding balance between what we want now and what we want most. It's about making choices that might be hard in the moment, but will bring us closer to our goals, happiness, and peace in the long run. So let's commit to this journey together, supporting one another in choosing what's right, not what's easy. Remember, in the realm of self-discipline lies the path to achieving our dreams and living a life we truly love. When life throws its curveballs, we all experience a whirlwind of emotions. Feeling angry, sad, or frustrated is a natural part of being human. But here's the kicker. It's not just about the emotions we feel, it's about how we handle them. That's where the magic of emotional resilience comes in. Emotional resilience is like this superpower that allows us to navigate through life's storms with grace and come out stronger on the other side. It's about acknowledging our emotions, understanding them, and then taking positive steps to move forward rather than being swept away by the tide of our feelings. The Stoics had a lot to say about this. Marcus Aurelius, for example, reminds us, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This profound insight touches the essence of emotional resilience. It's about recognizing that while we might not have control over what happens to us, we have control over how we respond. Developing emotional resilience. Our emotions don't have to control our actions. Seneca offers wisdom on facing adversity without losing our composure. He teaches that life's hardships are tests of our character and resilience. By facing our feelings with understanding and patience, we can grow wiser and more robust. But how do we develop this emotional resilience? It starts with self-awareness. Being mindful of our emotions and reactions helps us understand ourselves better. It's okay to feel what we're feeling, but instead of reacting impulsively, we can choose to respond in a way that aligns with our values and long-term well-being. Aristotle spoke about the golden mean, finding the balance between excess and deficiency. This concept applies beautifully to emotional resilience. It's about finding a balanced response to our emotions, not suppressing them or letting them overpower us. Carl Jung, a pioneer in psychology, emphasized the importance of integrating all aspects of our psyche to achieve wholeness. Part of this process involves confronting our emotions, understanding them, and learning from them. This is at the heart of developing emotional resilience. So what can you do when you're in the grip of strong emotions? First, give yourself permission to feel. Acknowledge your emotions without judgment. Then, take a step back and try to understand what triggered these feelings. This reflection can provide valuable insights into your emotional patterns and triggers. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This is a powerful reminder that our reactions to our emotions can shape our experiences. Instead of being reactive, we can choose to respond in a way that is constructive and healing. Developing emotional resilience is a journey. It involves practicing mindfulness, self-reflection, and patience. It's about building a toolkit of coping strategies, like journaling, talking to a trusted friend, or practicing relaxation techniques. Most importantly, it's about treating yourself with kindness and compassion as you navigate through your emotions. Emotional resilience is not about never feeling negative emotions. It's about learning to ride the waves of those emotions with grace and coming out on the other side stronger and more self-aware. By developing emotional resilience, we empower ourselves to face life's challenges with courage and poise. Let's embrace this journey together, supporting each other in becoming more emotionally resilient and ultimately living a more fulfilling life. The Stoics, including great minds like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus, used this concept not to create fear, but to inspire a deeper appreciation for every moment. They believed that by keeping the inevitability of death in mind, we would live more fully, consciously, and with gratitude for the present. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, often reflected on the transience of life, encouraging us to live in a way that's true to our values and to make the most of the time we're given. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think, he wrote. This isn't about being morose. It's a call to action, a reminder to focus on what truly matters. Memento mori, remember you will die. To let go of petty concerns and to live with purpose and integrity. Seneca too spoke about the shortness of life, urging us not to waste time on trivialities, but to focus on creating a meaningful existence. He believed that being mindful of death encourages us to live more wisely and to cherish our relationships and experiences. Epictetus emphasized the importance of focusing on the present and making the best use of our time. By remembering that we won't live forever, we're more likely to live ethically and to appreciate the beauty and richness of life. But how can we incorporate memento mori into our own lives without it feeling like a dark cloud over our heads? It starts with shifting our perspective. Instead of seeing the awareness of death as something fearful, we can view it as a powerful motivator to live our lives to the fullest. It's about embracing the present, not postponing our dreams or happiness for some undefined future that's not guaranteed. Think about the things you've been putting off. Maybe it's pursuing a passion, reconnecting with loved ones, or simply taking time to appreciate the small joys of everyday life. Memento mori reminds us not to take our time for granted. It encourages us to live more authentically, to say what we mean, to love openly, and to be present in our lives. This concept also teaches us to appreciate the impermanence of life, which in turn deepens our gratitude for the moments we have. When we remember that our time is limited, we're more likely to cherish our experiences, to live more mindfully, and to express our gratitude for the people and moments that enrich our lives. So let's use memento mori not as a source of fear, but as a catalyst for growth, gratitude, and a deeper appreciation of life. Let it remind us to make choices that align with our deepest values, to cherish our relationships, and to savor the beauty of the present moment. Remembering that we will die one day encourages us to live more fully today. In embracing memento mori, we find a powerful reminder to live not in fear of death, but in celebration of life. Let's make every moment count, not because we're afraid of its end, but because we're in love with life itself. Let's live in a way that when our time does come, we can look back with no regrets, knowing we lived fully, loved deeply, and appreciated the incredible journey that life is. It's fascinating how such a simple concept can have a profound impact on our lives. It's about shifting our focus to what we have rather than dwelling on what we're missing. This practice can be a real game changer, especially on those days that feel like an uphill battle. The Stoics, wise as they were, had a lot to say about gratitude. They believed that happiness doesn't come from having more, but from appreciating what we already have. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of focusing on the present and finding joy in the simple things. He said, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." This is gratitude in its purest form, recognizing the value of life itself and the many gifts it offers us each day. Practicing gratitude. Seneca talked about how our desires can lead us astray, always chasing after more and never finding true satisfaction. He suggested that by focusing on what we have and understanding that the best things in life are already within our grasp, we can find real contentment. Epictetus, known for his practical approach to Stoic philosophy, encouraged his followers to appreciate their current circumstances, whatever they might be. He believed that by accepting and finding value in our present situation, we could live a more fulfilled life. But how do we practice gratitude, especially when life throws curveballs our way? It starts with making it a daily habit. Each morning or evening, take a moment to reflect on 3 things you're grateful for. It could be as simple as a warm cup of coffee, a conversation with a friend, or the beauty of a sunset. This practice helps to rewire our brains to focus on the positive, boosting our mood and overall outlook on life. Gratitude also means embracing the challenges and finding lessons within them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can help us appreciate our experiences, both good and bad, as valuable steps on our journey. Moreover, practicing gratitude helps us build stronger connections with others. By expressing appreciation for the people in our lives, we not only brighten their day, but also strengthen our relationships. A simple thank you can go a long way in showing someone that they're valued and loved. Aristotle spoke about the importance of recognizing the good in our lives and striving for a virtuous life. He believed that gratitude was a key part of achieving eudaimonia, or true happiness, as it allows us to appreciate the goodness around us and within ourselves. Even modern psychology supports the benefits of gratitude. Studies have shown that people who practice gratitude regularly experience less anxiety, sleep better, and have a more positive outlook on life. It's like Carl Jung said, the word happiness would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. By acknowledging and being grateful for the full spectrum of our experiences, we find a deeper, more authentic form of happiness. So let's make gratitude a cornerstone of our daily lives. Let's celebrate the small victories, cherish the moments of connection, and find joy in the simple pleasures. By focusing on what we have, not what we're missing, we can cultivate a sense of abundance and happiness that shines from within. Remember, it's not happiness that brings us gratitude. It's gratitude that brings us happiness. Let's fill our glasses half full, raise them high, and toast to the beauty of gratitude in our lives. Cheers to finding the silver lining, even on the cloudiest of days. The Stoics had a profound understanding of personal excellence. They believed that excellence, or virtue, is the sole good, and that everything we do should aim towards living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, is a prime example of someone who strived for personal excellence. He once said, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." This simple yet powerful statement encapsulates the essence of personal excellence. It's about embodying the values we admire and striving to live by them every day. Focusing on personal excellence. Seneca emphasized the importance of self-improvement and learning. He advocated for a life lived in accordance with nature and reason, suggesting that true excellence comes from within and is reflected in our actions and choices. Epictetus highlighted the role of personal responsibility in achieving excellence. He taught that our reactions, our emotions, and our will are within our control, and mastering them is key to living a life of virtue. But what does focusing on personal excellence look like in our day-to-day lives? It starts with setting personal standards based on our values and aspirations, not societal expectations or the achievements of others. It's about knowing who we are, understanding our strengths and weaknesses, and taking consistent steps towards improvement. Personal excellence is also about resilience. It's about how we respond to setbacks and failures, not just our successes. Like Aristotle said, excellence is never an accident. It is always the result of high intention, sincere effort, and intelligent execution. It represents the wise choice of many alternatives. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. This means embracing challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, rather than seeing them as obstacles. Moreover, focusing on personal excellence involves cultivating a growth mindset, a concept championed by modern psychology. It's the belief that our abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. This mindset encourages us to embrace challenges, persist in the face of setbacks, and see effort as a path to mastery. Personal excellence also means living authentically. It's about being true to ourselves and our values, even when it's not easy. It's about making choices that reflect who we are and who we want to be, and taking pride in our journey, including the struggles and the triumphs. Practicing gratitude, as we discussed earlier, ties into personal excellence too. By appreciating what we have and where we are on our journey, we foster a positive outlook that supports our growth and well-being. So let's commit to focusing on personal excellence. Let's set our own standards, embrace our unique paths, and take pride in our progress. Remember, it's not about being perfect. It's about being proud of who we are and how we live. It's about celebrating our efforts, learning from our experiences, and always striving to be the best versions of ourselves. Together, let's make personal excellence not just a goal, but a way of life. In a world saturated with social media, where likes, follows, and comments often dictate our self-worth, it's easy to fall into the trap of valuing ourselves through the lens of others' opinions. But here's a liberating truth. Your worth isn't based on external validation. It's about being true to yourself, embracing your authenticity, and living in alignment with your values. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers we keep turning to for timeless wisdom, had a lot to say about this. They taught that our inner peace and freedom come from focusing on what's within our control, our actions, our thoughts, our integrity, not the fluctuating opinions of others, not caring what others think. Marcus Aurelius wisely stated, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinions of others." This striking observation highlights the paradox many of us live with, valuing others' judgments over our own self-assessment. Seneca echoed this sentiment by emphasizing the importance of living a life true to oneself, not one shaped by the expectations or approval of others. He believed that true contentment comes from within, from living a life that's congruent with our principles and values. Epictetus taught that worrying about others' opinions is outside our control and therefore not worth our energy. He encouraged focusing instead on our own actions and on living virtuously, as that's where our true power lies. So how can we start caring less about what others think and more about being true to ourselves? First, it's about understanding that you are the author of your life story. You have the power to define your worth, not society, not your social media followers, nor the people around you. It's about grounding your self-esteem in who you are, the values you stand for, the kindness you spread, and the effort you put into being your best self. Second, practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, whose life am I living? Am I making choices based on my desires, or am I trying to fit into someone else's mold? Reflecting on these questions can help realign your actions with your true self. Third, embrace vulnerability. Being true to yourself means being open about your flaws and all, understanding that perfection is an illusion. It's okay to be a work in progress, making mistakes and learning from them. This authenticity attracts the right people into your life, those who appreciate the real you. Moreover, remember the words of Aristotle, who spoke about the golden mean, finding balance in life. Applying this to our concern for others' opinions, it's about finding a healthy balance between considering constructive feedback and maintaining our autonomy and self-worth. Incorporating a Stoic mindset into our lives means understanding that our worth is determined by our virtues, our actions, and our commitment to living a meaningful life, not by external accolades or approval. It's about building a strong inner fortress that remains unshaken by the fleeting opinions of others. Let's commit to valuing ourselves for who we truly are, not for the likes, follows, or approval we receive. Let's be courageous in our authenticity, living lives that resonate with our deepest truths. Remember, your worth is inherent and unique, and by being true to yourself, you shine your light in the most genuine way possible. Let's not just navigate life, but thrive in it, with the confidence that comes from knowing we are living authentically, aligned with our values and true to ourselves. Here's the thing. Accepting change is not just necessary, it's vital for our growth and happiness. The reality is, the only constant in life is change. Learning to go with the flow and embrace life's inevitable shifts makes navigating through them less scary and more of an adventure. The Stoics, accepting change, had an incredibly healthy perspective on change. They saw it as a natural part of the universe's rhythm. Marcus Aurelius said, "Accept whatever comes to you woven in the pattern of your destiny, for what could more aptly fit your needs?" This profound acceptance of change as part of the fabric of life helps us understand that each change, whether we perceive it as good or bad, has its place in our story. Seneca taught that becoming too attached to our current circumstances can lead to disappointment, because inevitably those circumstances will change. He advised us to be flexible and to understand that change is not just a part of life, but a necessary component of our personal development and happiness. Epictetus encouraged us to distinguish between what we can control and what we can't. He pointed out that while we can't control external events, we can control our attitudes towards them. This mindset is incredibly empowering when it comes to dealing with change. It's about focusing on our responses, finding the opportunities for growth within the change, and moving forward with resilience. But how can we become more accepting of change? First, by acknowledging that change is inevitable. It's the natural order of things. Everything around us is in a constant state of flux. Seasons change, people come and go, and our very selves are renewing themselves as we speak. Embracing change means embracing life itself. Second, by practicing mindfulness. Being present in the moment allows us to appreciate our current experiences without clinging to them. This awareness creates a space for acceptance when those experiences inevitably evolve or come to an end. Third, by seeking the lessons in change. Every shift in our lives, no matter how challenging, comes with opportunities to learn and grow. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" we can ask, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective can turn the challenges of change into stepping stones for personal development. Aristotle spoke about the importance of pursuing a virtuous life as the key to happiness. Part of virtue is adaptability, the ability to navigate life's changes with grace and wisdom. It's about finding balance and harmony within the flux of life. Modern psychology supports this Stoic approach to change. Viewing change as an opportunity rather than a threat can significantly reduce our stress and anxiety levels. It can enhance our resilience, making us better equipped to handle whatever life throws our way. Let's remind ourselves that change is not just something to endure, but to welcome as a natural, enriching part of our journey. By accepting change, we open ourselves to new experiences, growth, and the beautiful unfolding of our unique paths in life. Remember, going with the flow isn't about passivity. It's about actively engaging with life in its full, dynamic complexity. Let's navigate the currents of change with courage, grace, and a heart open to the endless possibilities that change brings. Despite our differences, we're all in this together, navigating the complex journey of life. By fostering an understanding and caring attitude towards others, we contribute to making the world a kinder. Practicing compassion and empathy. More loving place. The Stoics, those ancient philosophers who continue to enlighten us with their timeless wisdom, placed great importance on the virtues of compassion and empathy. They believed in the interconnectedness of all humans and taught that kindness and understanding towards others are essential aspects of living a virtuous life. Marcus Aurelius, for instance, reminded us that human beings are social creatures by nature, meant to live in harmony and cooperation with one another. He said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." This beautifully illustrates the idea that our well-being is intrinsically linked to the well-being of others. Seneca emphasized the importance of treating others with kindness and generosity. He argued that compassion is a natural human instinct and that by helping others, we also help ourselves. In his writings, Seneca encourages us to extend our empathy even to those who have wronged us, understanding that they too are acting out of their own struggles and limitations. Epictetus taught that we should strive to understand others' perspectives, recognizing that everyone has their reasons for their actions. This doesn't mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather approaching others with a mindset of empathy, seeking to understand their experiences and viewpoints. But how can we practice compassion and empathy in our daily lives? It starts with listening, truly listening to the stories, experiences, and feelings of those around us. It's about putting ourselves in their shoes, imagining their struggles, their joys, their fears, and their hopes. This act of understanding can bridge the gap between us, fostering a sense of connection and shared humanity. Another way to cultivate compassion and empathy is through acts of kindness, no matter how small: a smile, a kind word, a listening ear. These can all make a significant difference in someone's day. By being present and attentive to others, we signal that they matter, that their feelings and experiences are valid and important. Practicing compassion and empathy also means being there for others in times of need, offering support and understanding without judgment. It's about recognizing the value and dignity of every person, regardless of our differences. The ancient philosopher Aristotle spoke about the importance of friendship and the role of empathy in building strong, meaningful relationships. He believed that true friends not only share in each other's joys, but also in their sorrows, supporting each other with empathy and understanding. Modern psychology supports the Stoic emphasis on compassion and empathy, showing that these virtues not only enhance our relationships, but also our own emotional well-being. By caring for others, we foster a sense of belonging, purpose, and happiness in our own lives. Let's remind ourselves that behind every face is a story, behind every action is a reason, and that by understanding and caring for each other, we make the world a kinder, gentler place. In doing so, we not only enrich the lives of those around us, but also find deeper fulfillment and joy in our own lives. Together, let's spread kindness like confetti, creating ripples of compassion that transform the world, one act of empathy at a time. Reflecting and reviewing regularly. This is about taking a pause, a real, meaningful pause, to look back on our actions, our thoughts, and the paths we've tread. It's about growth, introspection, and aligning our lives with our deepest values. In a world that's always rushing forward, this practice is our anchor, ensuring we're not just being swept away, but are sailing in the direction that's true to us. The Stoics, with their profound insights into human nature, placed immense value on the practice of reflection. Marcus Aurelius, in his personal writings, which we now treasure as meditations, offered a model of this practice. He didn't just rule an empire. He took the time to examine his life, his decisions, and his moral compass. Through writing, he saw this reflection as essential to living a life of virtue and purpose. "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts," he wrote, reminding us that our internal dialogue shapes our external reality. Seneca recommended regular self-assessment as a way to foster self-improvement and wisdom. He likened life to a play, suggesting that we periodically review our roles and performances. Are we acting in harmony with the character we wish to embody? Are our actions reflective of the script we value, the script of our lives? Epictetus encouraged his students to end each day with a review of their actions and attitudes. This wasn't about self-criticism, but about self-awareness and growth. He urged us to ask ourselves, what did I do well? What did I do wrong? What duties left undone? Through such questions, we can steer our lives more consciously, making adjustments that bring us closer to our ideals. But how do we incorporate this Stoic practice of reflection and review into our modern lives? First, by making it a habit. Dedicate a few minutes each day, perhaps before bedtime, to reflect on your day. What were your victories? Where did you face challenges, and how did you respond? This practice can start as a mental exercise, but writing it down can enhance its benefits, giving you a tangible record of your journey. Second, use reflection as a tool for gratitude. In reviewing your day, also take note of the moments, no matter how small, that brought you joy or gratitude. This balances our natural tendency to focus on the negative, cultivating a more positive outlook on life. Third, approach this practice with kindness. Reflection is not about berating yourself for mistakes, but about recognizing them as opportunities for learning and growth. Be as understanding and supportive to yourself as you would be to a dear friend. Aristotle spoke about the importance of living a reflective life. He believed that true wisdom comes from understanding ourselves, our actions, and our place in the world. This reflection is the essence of living an examined life, one that's in accordance with virtue and excellence. In modern psychology, the benefits of regular reflection are well documented, showing improvements in mental health, clarity of purpose, and personal growth. Reflecting on our experiences helps us process emotions, learn from our actions, and make more informed decisions moving forward. Let's commit to this practice of reflecting and reviewing regularly. Let it be our guidepost, ensuring that we're not just passively experiencing life, but actively shaping it according to our values. By taking the time to look back, we gain the insight needed to move forward more aligned, more aware, and more in tune with the essence of who we are and who we aspire to be. Let's cherish this journey of introspection, for it is in knowing ourselves that we find the path to true fulfillment and joy. Each of these lessons from Stoicism isn't just ancient wisdom. They're life hacks that can help us deal with stress, make better decisions, and find peace in chaos. Remember, it's not the challenges along the way that define us, but the strength we find in facing them, the wisdom we gather, and the compassion we share. Each step, each reflection, each act of kindness is a brushstroke in the masterpiece that is your life. So let's not just exist, let's live vibrantly, purposefully, authentically. As we part ways today, I encourage you not to let the inspiration end here. On the screen, you'll find a playlist that's a treasure trove of wisdom, stories, and strategies to help you navigate life's twists and turns with grace and resilience. Click on it, dive deeper, and continue to sculpt the most authentic version of yourself. Together, let's keep growing, keep reflecting, and keep embracing the beautiful complexity of life. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Until we meet again, remember to live not just for the applause, but for the cause of being your most genuine self. Have you ever found yourself in a tricky situation where someone publicly disrespects you? Maybe it was a tactless, sarcastic comment in front of others, or an awkward joke that left you feeling undervalued and humiliated. In moments like these, have you ever wondered, how should I respond to not just maintain my dignity, but actually earn respect even from people who habitually disregard others' value? Don't worry, you're not alone. We've all experienced moments like this, and the fascinating thing is you have more control than you might think over how you handle them. In this video, we're diving into some effective tips and psychological techniques inspired by the timeless wisdom of Stoic philosophy. These strategies won't just help you navigate difficult situations calmly, they'll also help you gain respect from those around you. Stick around because we're going to explore exactly how to respond intelligently, turning uncomfortable moments into opportunities to affirm your self-worth. Let's start by understanding why you sometimes find yourself in these situations. In many cases, it's not because people hate you or hold a personal grudge. The issue often lies in a kind of opportunism that some people exhibit. These individuals try to elevate themselves by diminishing others. They think that making you appear weak or uncomfortable will make them stand out more. This behavior is common not just in workplaces, but also in social circles and even within families. Stoic philosophy, with its timeless insights, teaches us that respect isn't something you demand or impose on others. Instead, it's about how you conduct yourself, how you build and establish boundaries for your own self-worth. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." In moments like these, your calm and confidence are your ultimate weapons. But it's not just about how you handle unpleasant situations. The bigger picture is creating an environment where respect for you becomes a given. What does that mean? It's about ensuring that no one uses you as a stepping stone to boost their own image. You need to demonstrate that you know your value and won't be shaken by cheap remarks or undermining actions. So, get ready to explore how to apply Stoic philosophy in everyday life. These small but powerful strategies will help you stand your ground in any situation. And if you've ever felt unbalanced or undervalued by others, remember this: respect isn't earned through aggressive comebacks, but through how calmly and steadfastly you control yourself. Now, let's dive into these practical solutions and show you how to handle disrespect with grace and strength. First tip: first impressions. First tip: the first impression matters a lot. First impressions are the foundation of how you are perceived, and interestingly, it's often less about what you say and more about how you present yourself. Picture this: you're at an important networking event. Someone walks into the room, scans the crowd, and makes their way toward you. They extend their hand for a greeting, but instead of standing up, you remain seated, offering a quick glance at their hand before shaking it. The result? You've unintentionally conveyed a lack of confidence and signaled that this interaction might not matter much to you. Small actions like this have a massive impact on how others perceive you. The Stoics understood this deeply. They recognized that simple gestures like standing up and maintaining eye contact during a greeting aren't just good manners. They're powerful expressions of confidence and self-awareness. When you rise to shake someone's hand, you're subtly communicating equality, readiness, and mutual respect. This aligns with a key Stoic principle. How you present yourself reflects your values and shapes how others see you. Let me share a story. I once attended a professional seminar where networking was the primary goal among the attendees. One individual stood out. Whether greeting a senior executive or thanking a waiter for refilling his coffee, he always stood up, made eye contact, and engaged fully. It wasn't flashy or overdone, but it left an impression. People respected him, not because of what he said, but because of how he carried himself. He projected confidence and sincerity with every interaction, effortlessly commanding respect. In contrast, I noticed another attendee who remained seated during every greeting. He didn't mean to come across as disinterested, it was simply a habit. Yet, this seemingly minor action created an unspoken barrier. People unconsciously took him less seriously, even though he was just as capable as anyone else in the room. This highlighted an essential truth. Standing up isn't just about politeness. It's about acknowledging the other person's value and asserting your own. The lesson is clear, right? Rising to greet someone is not just an act of courtesy. It's a declaration of how you value yourself and others. Here's where Stoicism comes in. The Stoics didn't focus on things beyond their control. They maximized what they could influence. In this case, it's your behavior, your presentation, and the way you communicate your worth through small yet meaningful actions. If you want to adopt this lesson in your life, start with everyday encounters. Whether you're meeting someone in the office, at a cafe, or even during a virtual meeting, make sure you're fully present. Stand up when greeting someone, maintain eye contact, and project confidence with your body language. These simple gestures not only earn you respect, but also emphasize your inherent value, a reflection of Stoic principles in action. Remember, first impressions aren't just about appearances, they're about showcasing your confidence, self-respect, and the respect you have for others. This is the essence of what Stoicism teaches us. Live with intention, pay attention to the small things, and let those actions define who you are. So, the next time you meet someone, rise to the occasion, look them in the eye, and let your actions speak louder than words. Second tip: when someone interrupts you. When someone interrupts you in public during a conversation, the best thing you can do is fix that person with a firm and determined look. When someone interrupts you during a conversation, especially in a public setting, it can feel downright frustrating. You're trying to make a point, and suddenly someone jumps in, derailing your train of thought. But hold on a second. The natural reaction for many is to get angry or respond sharply, but that often only escalates the situation and makes you appear less composed. So, what should you do? This is where Stoic philosophy steps in to help you handle the moment with calmness and authority. Stoicism teaches us that true strength doesn't come from controlling others, it comes from controlling ourselves. In this situation, a simple, steady gaze can convey a stronger message than any words. Instead of reacting impulsively, pause, look directly at the person who interrupted you with a calm yet focused gaze. Let the silence speak for you. Their behavior is inappropriate, and you won't tolerate being disrespected. This not only demonstrates confidence, but also encourages the other person to reflect on their actions. I remember once during a family dinner, I was sharing a funny story when a relative interrupted to share their own. At first I felt a bit flustered and awkward, but instead of cutting them off mid-sentence, I stopped, looked at them calmly, and waited. The silence lasted only a few seconds, but carried more weight than any words could have. They quickly realized they'd interrupted at the wrong moment, corrected themselves, and allowed me to continue. The rest of the evening was smooth, and I regained control of the conversation without any drama. This strategy works particularly well in public or group settings. By staying composed and in control, you naturally draw attention. Your presence becomes stronger, and you don't need to raise your voice or argue to reclaim your space in the conversation. Stoicism teaches us not to let others' actions dictate our emotions. Instead, we use tools like body language and calmness to steer the situation without losing our dignity. But the gaze is just the beginning. Once the interruption is addressed politely but firmly, resume your point. A simple phrase like, "Let me pick up where I left off," not only asserts your right to speak, but also maintains respect for everyone involved. Remember, the goal isn't to embarrass the other person, but to set a clear expectation that respect in communication is non-negotiable. What's remarkable about this approach is that it requires no aggression or intimidation. Just stay calm, avoid showing anger, and let your actions speak volumes. When others see you handle interruptions with confidence and intention, they'll not only respect you more, but also reflect on their own behavior. Stoicism reminds us that true power lies in maintaining self-control, even in challenging moments. So, next time someone interrupts you, don't lose your cool. Stand firm, hold your gaze, and show others that you are someone worth listening to. This isn't just about earning respect, it's about expressing your self-worth in a way that's both meaningful and lasting. Third tip: jokes and humiliation. When someone tries to humiliate you with a joke in a group of friends, adopt this strategy. When someone in your group of friends deliberately tries to humiliate you with a joke, your first instinct might be to feel embarrassed or upset. But remember, the way you respond will determine the entire dynamic of the situation. This is where Stoic philosophy can be an incredibly powerful tool, helping you stay calm and take control. Once, during a casual meet-up with old friends, one of them decided to mock me in front of everyone by retelling an embarrassing story from our school days. At first, I felt my face heat up, and my immediate reaction was to fire back. But instead of letting my emotions take over, I recalled a Stoic principle. What doesn't harm your essence isn't worth your concern. I smiled, pretended not to have heard the story, and calmly asked my friend to repeat it, maintaining a composed and slightly curious demeanor. Here's the fascinating part. When the person had to retell the joke, its impact significantly diminished. Not only that, but the group started to sense the awkwardness of forcing someone to recount a joke that wasn't landing well anymore. The loud laughter from earlier faded, and the storyteller began to fumble, realizing their attempt at humiliation had backfired. The key here is that asking someone to repeat their joke not only reduces its impact, but also shows that you're unshaken. This approach allows you to maintain your composure while subtly highlighting the other person's inappropriate behavior. Even more importantly, it shifts the dynamic in your favor without resorting to retaliatory tactics or losing your dignity. By choosing this path, you send a powerful message. You're someone with inner strength who won't let small provocations dictate your emotions. This is one of the core lessons of Stoic philosophy, maintaining calm and control in the face of minor life challenges. So how can you apply this principle effectively? First, Remember that you don't need to react instantly to every action or word. Pause, take a breath, and think. Second, use silence as a powerful weapon. Silence isn't passive, it creates space for the other person to realize their mistake. Finally, when you do respond, do it with calm confidence. A simple request for them to repeat what they said, spoken in a neutral tone, can have far more impact than arguing or fighting back. Stoicism teaches us that our reactions to uncomfortable situations reflect our character and inner values. Every time you stay calm and refuse to be drawn into negativity, you not only gain the respect of others, but also reinforce your own self-respect. So, the next time someone tries to mock you in front of others, remember you have complete control over how the story ends, and with calmness and clarity, you'll always come out on top. Fourth tip: a question in response. Tip 4. When someone is trying to provoke you or make you angry, you can use a very effective psychological technique. Have you ever faced a situation where someone deliberately tried to provoke you or hurt you, and instead of reacting immediately, you managed to handle it gracefully? Imagine this. You're at a family gathering, and someone makes a pointed remark about a failure in your career in front of everyone. It's the kind of comment that feels like a dagger to your heart, digging into a pain you've been trying to move past. Suddenly, all eyes are on you, waiting to see how you'll respond. In that moment, instead of reacting defensively or trying to explain yourself, you take a brief pause, stay calm and ask, "Hey, does anyone know a good bakery nearby? I was thinking about picking up something for the next get-together." That simple question instantly changes the energy in the room. The person trying to provoke you is left flustered, unsure of how to proceed, and the conversation quickly shifts to a new, more neutral topic. Not only did you avoid escalating the situation, but you also turned an uncomfortable moment into one that worked in your favor. This strategy of asking an unrelated question is more than just a clever tactic. It's a way of reclaiming control over your emotions and the situation. By interrupting the flow of provocation, you redirect attention away from the negative energy and refuse to give the instigator the satisfaction of seeing you upset. It's a perfect example of practicing Stoic principles, focusing on what you can control and refusing to let external circumstances dictate your peace of mind. As Epictetus wisely said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The brilliance of this technique lies in its ability to derail negativity without confrontation. A well-timed, unrelated question disrupts the instigator's train of thought, making it nearly impossible for them to continue their attempt to provoke you. At the same time, it allows you to maintain your composure and project a sense of confidence and self-control. This is a powerful way to command respect in any social situation. To make this approach work, it's essential to keep your tone and demeanor natural. If it seems forced or calculated, it might come across as insincere. Choose a simple, neutral question or comment that feels organic to the moment. Something about a nearby restaurant, a recent event, or even a casual observation. The goal is not to dodge the situation awkwardly, but to shift the conversation with subtlety and ease. This technique doesn't just work in the moment. It builds long-term resilience and inner strength. By refusing to be dragged into emotional conflicts, you demonstrate to yourself and others that you're in control. People around you will notice this composure and come to respect you for it. More importantly, using this strategy is a step toward cultivating the core Stoic value of focusing on what you can control. You can't dictate how others behave, but you can decide how you respond. In doing so, you reinforce your sense of self-worth and send a clear message. You will not allow others to undermine your peace or dignity. Next time you find yourself in a situation where someone's words are aimed to provoke or hurt, remember this approach. Ask a simple, unrelated question and observe how the dynamic changes. You'll not only diffuse the tension, but also feel empowered by your ability to rise above it. As Marcus Aurelius wisely reminded us, true power comes from maintaining peace of mind, regardless of external circumstances. By mastering this, you'll not only handle challenges with grace, but also elevate the respect others have for you in any situation. Let's move on to the fifth and final tip: walking away. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you felt undervalued, disrespected, or even completely ignored? It's not a pleasant feeling, but sometimes the best way to protect your self-respect is to choose to walk away. Stoic philosophy teaches us that respect isn't something you can demand. It's something you cultivate by knowing your own worth. And sometimes walking away isn't a sign of failure. It's a demonstration of strength and self-worth. Let me share a story with you. A friend of mine, Sarah, was an exceptional creative professional. One day she joined a major project at her company. However, instead of being recognized for her relentless efforts, she was constantly ridiculed by her manager in front of the team. They would interrupt her in meetings, dismiss her ideas, and make her feel as if her contributions didn't matter. At first, Sarah tried harder, believing she needed to prove herself, but after months of frustration, she realized she didn't need to beg for respect from people unwilling to give it. A pivotal meeting changed everything. Once again, her idea was brushed aside without any reason. This time, Sarah calmly closed her laptop, stood up, and said she would put her energy into a place where it was valued. She walked out of the meeting, leaving her colleagues stunned. That same day, she submitted her resignation, not out of anger, but as an act of self-preservation. A few months later, Sarah joined another company in a leadership role, where she was not only respected, but celebrated for her talents. Sarah's story isn't just about leaving, it's about choosing where to invest your energy. Walking away doesn't signify weakness. On the contrary, it demonstrates that you understand your value and refuse to stay in an environment that undermines it. Stoic philosophy teaches us that the only thing we can truly control is how we respond to situations. While you can't force others to respect you, you can decide not to remain in a place where respect is absent. The most powerful part of walking away is that it's not about creating drama or proving a point. It's a personal decision, quiet but resolute. It's a way of telling yourself, I am worth more than this. Marcus Aurelius emphasized, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Staying in a disrespectful environment is choosing to let others diminish your value. So how do you know when it's time to walk away? It's when you realize that all your efforts to build respect have been met with indifference. When you feel you're constantly fighting to be recognized, don't wait until your self-esteem has been eroded. Listen to yourself, and if necessary, choose to leave, because being an absence that's respected is far better than being a presence that's diminished. Walking away is not about surrendering. It's about setting boundaries. Stoic philosophy teaches us not only to control our emotions, but also to safeguard our sense of worth. The next time you find yourself being devalued, remember that sometimes the most respectful action you can take is to leave the table where your worth isn't recognized. Respect isn't begged for, it's built by how you decide to treat yourself. I would love to hear about your journey and triumphs. Please hit subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and leave a comment below to share your story, your successes, and even the challenges you've overcome. If you're not sure what to comment, just write, "I can do it," to show that you've completed this session. Your engagement helps this community grow toward wisdom and the art of turning every challenge into an opportunity. I'll leave 2 more videos here so you can continue learning and growing on your personal development journey. Imagine being able to stay calm and collected in the middle of a traffic jam, facing a difficult conversation with your boss, or even dealing with a personal crisis. This is the power of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has helped people for centuries to live happier and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism teaches us that the only thing we can truly control is our own thoughts and actions. Everything else, from the weather to the economy to the behavior of others, is outside of our control. By accepting this reality, we can free ourselves from the anxiety and frustration that comes from trying to control things that are outside of our reach. Stoicism also teaches us to focus on what we can control, which is our own character and our actions. By striving to live a virtuous life, we can create a sense of inner peace and contentment that is not dependent on external circumstances. In this video, we'll explore 10 profound lessons from Stoicism that can help you achieve inner peace and mastery over your emotions. Join us on this journey of self-discovery as we explore the ancient wisdom of Stoicism and learn how to apply it to our modern lives. Lesson number 1. Embrace what you can control. Epictetus, the Stoic sage, offers us a fundamental lesson that serves as the cornerstone of Stoic philosophy, the dichotomy of control. At the heart of this teaching is the recognition that our lives are subject to a fundamental division between elements we can control and those beyond our influence. This concept is pivotal in cultivating a calm and composed demeanor, even in the midst of life's uncertainties. In essence, Epictetus advises us to invest our energy and attention in those aspects of life that fall within our sphere of control. These include our thoughts, actions, intentions, and responses. By directing our focus to what is genuinely within our power, we can navigate life with a sense of purpose and mastery. It is the acknowledgement that our internal world is under our dominion that forms the bedrock of our tranquility. Conversely, external events and circumstances, which often elude our sway, are to be acknowledged as outside the realm of our control. Just as an archer, as exemplified by Epictetus, can aim carefully, draw the bowstring with precision, and release the arrow skillfully, yet remain uncertain of the flight's outcome, we must learn to release our attachment to outcomes we cannot govern. This release is not an act of resignation, but an embrace of equanimity in the face of life's inherent unpredictability. Epictetus's metaphor of the archer, who derives contentment from knowing they've exerted their best effort regardless of the target's fate, serves as a potent reminder of the Stoic approach to life. It encourages us to concentrate on our intentions and the dedicated efforts we put forth, accepting that the results are subject to a multitude of external factors. In essence, Stoicism reminds us to seize the reins of our inner world, embracing the dichotomy of control as a powerful tool to maintain a calm and composed disposition in a world where much remains beyond our influence. By concentrating our energies on what we can shape, we free ourselves from the burden of attempting to govern the uncontrollable, allowing us to discover serenity in the knowledge that we've done our utmost with the tools at our disposal. Lesson number 2. The power of acceptance. In the grand tapestry of Stoic philosophy, few figures stand as tall as the Roman emperor and philosopher Marcus Aurelius. His profound insights, often chiseled in the timeless monument of Meditations, resonate through the ages and illuminate one of the most powerful lessons in Stoicism, the lesson of acceptance. Marcus Aurelius guides us through a profound exploration of the human condition, acknowledging the inevitability of both triumph and tribulation. Life, as he observes, is a symphony of ups and downs, a constant ebb and flow. Within this ever-shifting landscape, there exist circumstances beyond our influence, elements we cannot control. Marcus Aurelius, in his role as a Stoic sage, extols the virtue of accepting these immutable truths. To accept, in the Stoic sense, is to embrace the reality of life's unpredictability and impermanence. It is to release the chains of attachment to specific outcomes and to walk in harmony with the unceasing rhythm of the universe. In Marcus Aurelius's words, resistance to the natural course of events leads only to turmoil and distress, like a ship struggling against the relentless current. The Stoic perspective on acceptance is akin to setting sail on the sea of existence without a fixed destination, yet with an unwavering faith in the voyage itself. It is an invitation to relinquish the desire for unyielding control and instead flow with the ever-changing stream of life. To dance with the music of the cosmos, whether its notes are serene or tempestuous, is the embodiment of Stoic temperance. In the realm of Stoicism, this lesson forms the bedrock of inner peace and tranquility. It urges us to open our arms to life's capriciousness, to savor the sweetness of success, and to weather the storms of adversity with grace. The power of acceptance, as illuminated by Marcus Aurelius, is a beacon that guides us through the labyrinth of existence, allowing us to greet each moment, each circumstance, with an equanimous heart. It is the serenity of embracing life in all its unpredictability, finding profound serenity in the midst of its ever-shifting landscape. Lesson number 3. Practice mindfulness. Practice mindfulness. Seneca, the venerable Stoic philosopher whose wisdom has transcended the ages, illuminates a crucial lesson for those seeking calm and composure in the midst of life's tempests: the practice of mindfulness. In the Stoic lexicon, mindfulness is a compass guiding us to the shores of the present moment, offering sanctuary from the ceaseless turbulence of past regrets and future uncertainties. In its essence, mindfulness is the art of inhabiting the now, of immersing oneself in the present moment with profound awareness. It is the antidote to the affliction of rumination, the ceaseless churning of the mind over past sorrows and future anxieties. Seneca's Stoic teachings beckon us to pay homage to the beauty and profundity of the present, recognizing that it is the only time that holds genuine existence. The practice of mindfulness, as outlined by Seneca, is not confined to the extraordinary moments of life, but extends its embrace to the ordinary and mundane. It encourages us to witness life's tapestry with a keen eye, from the remarkable to the seemingly inconsequential. In doing so, we detach ourselves from the tormenting clutches of regret and the paralyzing grip of worry. This Stoic mindfulness, a precious tool for preserving inner calm and clarity, acts as a bridge to the precious now, connecting us to the profound simplicity of the present. It is an art that grants us the ability to fully engage with our current circumstances, to savor each breath, and to relish the beauty that unfolds in every heartbeat. In the practice of mindfulness, we discover a timeless sanctuary where the mind finds solace, a place where inner tranquility is nurtured and composure is cultivated, amidst the swirling tides of existence. Lesson number 4. Cultivate resilience. Resilience. In the vast landscape of Stoic wisdom, the lessons of resilience echo as a resounding anthem. And it is Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher par excellence, who raises his voice to teach us the profound art of confronting adversity with unwavering fortitude. To Epictetus, adversity is not a foe to be feared, but a chisel that sculpts the masterpiece of our character. Stoicism, with its roots deep in the natural order of life, imparts the fundamental truth that challenges are the warp and weft of existence. Stoics, embodying this wisdom, do not perceive adversity as an obstacle or a source of suffering, but rather as an opportunity, a crucible that tempers and refines their inner metal. Epictetus beckons us not to wilt before the storms of life, but to stand steadfast like the unyielding oak, unshaken by the tempest. The essence of this Stoic perspective lies in the profound realization that it is not the events themselves, but our judgments, reactions, and the choices we make in the face of adversity that hold the power to distress us. It is the lens through which we view life's trials that shapes our inner tranquility. To cultivate resilience in the Stoic vein is to walk the path of personal development, and to recognize adversity not as a scourge, but as a tutor. Stoicism teaches us that in the crucible of hardship, we discover the true extent of our strength, and it is through facing life's tribulations with courage and unwavering resilience that we emerge like tempered steel, with a character fortified by the trials we have endured. The Stoic perspective on adversity harmonizes seamlessly with the Stoic belief in the sovereignty of choice. Epictetus, in his sagacity, urges us to confront challenges not with trepidation, but with the valor of a warrior, for it is through our responses to external events that we preserve the sanctity of our inner calm and composure. It is the gift of resilience that allows Stoics to navigate life's tempestuous seas with an unswerving gaze, unwavering even in the face of the most turbulent storms. Lesson number 5. Choose your response. Choose your response. Epictetus, the venerable Stoic sage whose wisdom has traversed the annals of time, bequeaths to us a profound lesson of immeasurable value, the power of choice in our responses. Within the Stoic philosophy, this lesson stands as an indomitable pillar, a lighthouse guiding us through the tumultuous seas of existence. Epictetus, with unwavering conviction, imparts the truth that while the tides of external events may remain beyond our dominion, the helm of our responses is firmly within our grasp. This, he proclaims, is the essence of Stoic wisdom. In the Stoic sanctum, wherein calm and composure reign supreme, the locus of control is resolutely internal. Stoicism, a philosophy grounded in profound self-mastery, extols the sovereignty of our responses to life's multifarious challenges. It is in this sacred space that the Stoic virtues, wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance serve as guiding stars, illuminating the path to maintaining inner tranquility. Epictetus, with his sage counsel, invites us to contemplate the nature of our judgments and reactions, particularly in the crucible of adversity. It is through this introspection that we awaken to the profound truth that we possess the sacred gift of choice, the ability to consciously craft our responses to the myriad external events that unfold in our lives. The Stoic approach to responding sagely to life's vicissitudes is akin to a masterstroke on the canvas of existence. It is the choice to align our responses with the Stoic virtues, to confront life's tribulations with the wisdom of sages, the courage of heroes, the justice of righteous hearts, and the temperance of those who tread the path of inner mastery. The Stoics' arsenal, laden with the wisdom of Epictetus, is a bastion of inner peace, impervious even to the fiercest storms. Through conscious choice and alignment with Stoic virtues, we forge a shield that preserves our serenity in the face of adversity. It is the Stoics' clarion call to navigate the labyrinthian corridors of life with grace and resilience, for in the crucible of conscious choice, we find the crucible of enduring inner peace. Lesson number 6. Limit excessive desires. In the illustrious tapestry of Stoic wisdom, woven with threads of reason and virtue, Seneca's counsel on the Stoic principle of moderation stands as a masterpiece in itself. A sage known for his profound philosophical essays on virtue and personal development, Seneca extends to us a lesson of paramount importance, a lesson that beckons us to curb the tempestuous desires that often threaten to engulf our inner calm. At the heart of Stoicism lies the belief that excessive desires, like turbulent seas, have the power to cast our lives adrift, leaving us in a perpetual state of turmoil and discontent. The Stoic sages, in their unwavering pursuit of inner tranquility, recognized the perils of unbridled longing for wealth, status, and material possessions far beyond what is necessary for a life of virtue and wisdom. Seneca, echoing the Stoic sentiment, imparts his wisdom, rooted in the belief that authentic contentment finds its dwelling in the sanctuary of limited desires. It is a lesson that encourages us to navigate the labyrinthine corridors of existence with the rudder of moderation, guiding us toward the tranquil harbor of inner peace. The Stoic path, as illuminated by Seneca's wisdom, beckons us to simplify our desires, seeking only that which is requisite for a life marked by goodness and virtue. In this simplification, we unearth the precious gems of contentment and tranquility, independent of the capricious winds of external fortune. The Stoic practice of limiting excessive desires becomes the lodestar, ensuring the maintenance of a calm and composed disposition. It is within the walls of this ancient wisdom that we discover the profound truth that the fervent pursuit of external treasures is but a fleeting mirage, and the true treasures lie within, waiting to be unearthed. Seneca's teachings stand as an enduring testament to the Stoic commitment to inner mastery and the temperance of desires, forging a path that leads to the sacred sanctuary of inner calm. Lesson number 7. Be virtuous. The essence of Stoicism, as nurtured and cherished by the great Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, Seneca, and Marcus Aurelius, resides in the unwavering commitment to virtue, a commitment that lies at the very heart of this ancient philosophy. The Stoic virtues, comprising wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, become the compass guiding us toward a life marked by inner composure and tranquility. In the rich tapestry of Stoic wisdom, the virtues occupy a hallowed place. They are the moral lodestars that beckon us to navigate life's tempestuous seas with grace and wisdom. These virtues, etched into the annals of Stoic thought, are not mere abstractions. They are the pillars upon which the Stoic ideal of living in harmony with the natural order of the universe rests. Wisdom, the first of these virtues, serves as a beacon of light, illuminating the path of reason and discernment. It calls upon us to cultivate a deep understanding of the world and our place within it. The Stoic sages, such as Epictetus, understood that wisdom is the foundation upon which all other virtues are built. With wisdom as our guiding star, we gain the capacity to see the world as it truly is and to discern between the fleeting and the enduring. Courage, the second virtue, stands as the sentinel guarding the fortress of our moral character. It calls upon us to face life's challenges with steadfastness and resolve. In the Stoic lexicon, courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. It is the unwavering determination to confront adversity with inner fortitude. Seneca, through his teachings, extols the importance of courage in forging a character marked by resilience and unwavering resolve. Justice, the third virtue, extends its mantle of righteousness over the Stoic path. It beckons us to live in accordance with the principles of fairness and moral rightness. The Stoic philosophers, drawing inspiration from the wellsprings of justice, guide us toward making decisions that are rooted in equity and virtue. The pursuit of justice ensures that our actions align with the moral order of the universe, fostering inner tranquility and composure. Temperance, the final virtue, serves as the guardian of moderation and self-restraint. It reminds us to exercise control over our desires, for it is through temperance that we discover the gateway to true contentment. Seneca, in his philosophical essays, emphasizes the importance of simplifying our desires and seeking only that which is essential for a virtuous life. In the temperance of desires, we uncover the wellspring of inner calm, irrespective of external circumstances. These virtues, championed by various Stoic philosophers, converge to shape a life that exemplifies the Stoic ideal. They serve as the lodestar, guiding us through life's turbulent seas with grace, wisdom, and unshakable inner peace. By adhering to these virtues and allowing them to permeate our thoughts and actions, we maintain a calm and composed disposition, reflecting the Stoic commitment to inner harmony and ethical living. In the mosaic of Stoicism, the virtues are the vibrant colors that compose the image of a life lived in harmony with the eternal truth of the cosmos. Lesson number 8. Understand the transitory nature of life. The transitory nature of life, in the profound and timeless verses of his Meditations, Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, delves into the essence of life, a life imbued with transience. His teachings are a testament to the wisdom that accepting the ever-changing nature of existence is a cornerstone for maintaining a calm and composed demeanor. Through the lens of Stoicism, Marcus Aurelius imparts a lesson that is perhaps one of the most pivotal for achieving inner serenity. He invites us to embark on a philosophical journey that involves acknowledging the ephemeral and transient aspects of life. The Stoic recognition of this reality, often referred to as the transitory nature of life, is not a harbinger of despair. Rather, it serves as a cornerstone of strength that can lend profundity to our existence. The core of this lesson is the understanding that nothing in the realm of human experience, be it the moments of joy or the trials of adversity, is immutable. The universe, in its eternal ebb and flow, weaves a tapestry of constant change. The Stoic sage does not resist this cosmic dance, but chooses to waltz in harmony with it, with grace and wisdom. Marcus Aurelius urges us to unburden ourselves from the weight of attachments to those fleeting moments that shimmer like stars across the night sky, and to the material possessions that hold our attention for but a brief interlude. He teaches us to appreciate these moments and possessions as they come into our lives, but also to let them go when the time for departure arrives. In doing so, we unearth an inner sanctuary of calm and composure, impervious to the external tempests. Accepting the impermanence of all things, as championed by Marcus Aurelius, acts as a salve for the soul. It allows us to put into perspective the vicissitudes of life. It liberates us from the bondage of anxiety that stems from clutching onto what was or what might have been. Through this Stoic teaching, we become the architects of our inner fortitude, crafting a character marked by resilience in the face of life's inevitable changes. In understanding the transitory nature of life, we pave the way for a profound sense of inner tranquility. We recognize that our capacity for calm and composure transcends the rise and fall of external circumstances. It is an enduring presence, much like the stars that continue to shimmer in the night sky, irrespective of the fleeting clouds that pass before them. Marcus Aurelius, through his Stoic wisdom, invites us to bask in the light of this understanding, offering us the opportunity to savor life's moments while retaining an unwavering sense of inner peace. Lesson number 9. The value of gratitude. In the profound tapestry of Stoic philosophy, woven with threads of wisdom and resilience, there exists a gem that sparkles with profound insight: the value of gratitude. This lesson, championed by Seneca, one of Stoicism's eminent philosophers, illuminates the path to inner calm and contentment, irrespective of life's challenges. It guides us to celebrate not only life's triumphs, but also its tribulations, for it is through the lens of gratitude that we find serenity even in the face of adversity. Seneca, in his essays dedicated to the concept of gratitude, masterfully extolled its virtues. He beckoned us to redirect our gaze from what we may lack to what we have, to find solace in the present moment, and to embrace the treasures that often go unnoticed. In this Stoic practice, we unearth a potent tool for sustaining a profound sense of inner peace. The core of Seneca's teachings on gratitude is a gentle reminder that the act of being thankful is not contingent on the abundance of our possessions, but rather on our ability to perceive life's blessings in their myriad forms. In this sense, gratitude is not a mere response to life's easy moments, but a profound acknowledgement that even amidst the tempest's fury, there is a shelter of calm to be found. By cultivating a sense of gratitude, we recalibrate our relationship with life. We learn to see the splendor in the ordinary, the lesson within adversity, and the preciousness of every fleeting moment. Seneca encourages us to be content with the present, recognizing that the treasures of life are not commodities to be acquired, but experiences to be cherished. The value of gratitude, as illuminated by Seneca, acts as a guardian of our inner peace. It teaches us to ceaselessly reflect on the blessings that have graced our journey. In doing so, we discover that gratitude is an elixir that transmutes the base elements of despair and longing into the gold of contentment and serenity. In moments of challenge, a heart steeped in gratitude does not falter. It finds strength even in the midst of adversity, for it recognizes that the trials of life too are teachers. As Seneca would remind us, the Stoic spirit does not waver in the face of hardship. Instead, it flourishes, drawing nourishment from gratitude's deep well. In the Stoic tradition, the value of gratitude is an unwavering companion that ushers us towards a profound sense of tranquility. It elevates us above life's tempestuous waves, revealing the serenity that lies in embracing the blessings, no matter how small or seemingly insignificant. With Seneca's wisdom, we come to realize that practicing gratitude is not a mere response to life's joys, but a steadfast embrace of the beauty found in life's most trying moments. With every breath, every heartbeat, and every fleeting moment, we are presented with opportunities to unearth the treasures of gratitude. Seneca's Stoic legacy beckons us to cherish the present, not in spite of life's challenges, but because of them, and to savor the beauty that surrounds us. It is in this luminous practice that we discover a profound sense of tranquility and calm, even amidst the tempests of existence. Lesson number 10. Keep learning and growing. In the profound tapestry of Stoicism, where wisdom is woven with threads of resilience and temperance, we find a radiant lesson that beckons us to embark on a lifelong journey of self-improvement. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's luminaries, stands as a steadfast guide in this pursuit, revealing that the path to inner calm and composure is paved with the stones of personal growth. The Stoic commitment to self-improvement is a recurring theme in the philosophy, finding resonance across different Stoic philosophers. Epictetus, in particular, carries the torch of this lesson with unwavering conviction. He invites us to tread a path of perpetual growth, emphasizing that this commitment is a treasure trove of wisdom that equips us to navigate life's challenges with grace and sagacity. At the heart of this Stoic doctrine lies a profound realization that life is an unceasing voyage. We are not static beings, but vessels of potential, forever capable of evolution. The commitment to lifelong learning and growth is an unyielding call to action, a reminder that no matter where we stand, there are yet horizons to explore and virtues to cultivate. The Stoic pursuit of self-improvement aligns harmoniously with the quest for wisdom and tranquility. It is an acknowledgement that inner calm and composure are not static attributes, but dynamic processes enriched by the ceaseless quest for understanding. Epictetus encourages us to strive for wisdom as we would for a precious gem, knowing that it is the compass that guides us through the labyrinth of existence. The Stoic journey of self-improvement finds its pulse in the ebb and flow of life's experiences. We are not called to perfection, but to progress, not to stagnation, but to steady growth. This Stoic lesson echoes through the corridors of wisdom, whispering that there is no final destination, but an endless odyssey of becoming a better version of ourselves. In embracing this lesson, we learn to navigate life's challenges with resilience and fortitude. The Stoic spirit finds strength not in the absence of adversity, but in the quest for growth, which adversity often catalyzes. We discover that setbacks are not roadblocks, but stepping stones, and every trial is a teacher. The commitment to lifelong learning and growth is a lighthouse in the tempest, a source of calm in the face of life's challenges. It is a testament to the Stoic principle that, regardless of external circumstances, we are the masters of our inner world. The more we learn, the more we grow, and the more we grow, the better we become at weathering the storms of existence. In the echoes of Epictetus's teachings, we find an invitation to celebrate the journey of self-improvement, to revel in the process of learning, and to honor the endeavor of growth. It is a lesson that assures us that with every step taken on this path, we come closer to the heart of Stoicism, a life marked by inner calm, composure, and the pursuit of wisdom. In a world filled with distractions and uncertainties, Stoicism offers a timeless and practical guide to maintaining calm and composure. By embracing these 10 lessons from Stoicism, inspired by the wisdom of different Stoic philosophers and embodying the virtue of temperance, you can navigate life's challenges with grace, wisdom, and inner peace. The Stoic temperance becomes your anchor, guiding you through the storms of existence and helping you keep calm in the face of adversity. As you embrace these Stoic lessons, you discover a profound sense of tranquility and equanimity that enables you to thrive regardless of life's challenges. Stoicism's enduring wisdom reminds us that inner peace and composure are not dependent on external circumstances, but are cultivated within through the practice of these valuable lessons. Top of form, bottom of form.